Time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A lot to discuss. Throughout today's show, we'll talk a lot of the Masters as Masters Week rolling right along. The Par 3 contest going on right now, and tomorrow morning, bright and early, we'll get the first round started. We'll make our golf picks a little bit later in our second hour, but we'll talk a lot of Masters. We'll talk some basketballs. The NBA, they're starting to wind down the regular season. Grizzlies, they're in action tonight. The first of the final 3 road games to wrap up the regular season for them. So we'll talk some basketball, both college and the NBA, baseball, Masters, football, a little bit of everything. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. You going to be up at 6:40 tomorrow morning watching Kiefer and Lee tee it up at the Masters?
I do like Kiefer. I don't think I will be up early enough to watch him. I am planning on waking up, pretty early tomorrow to watch the Masters, but that might be a little before what I'm planning on waking up for.
Cada, Oklahoma, and Ortiz, the next group. You up by then?
What time is that?
That's at 6:50.
I would say 7:30 is probably the earliest I'll be waking up for any match.
7:30 will be in time for VJ Singh, Matt McCarty, and Rasmus Højgaard.
Okay, yeah, I could do that.
One of the golfing Højgaards.
That's right. I could maybe get behind that, but I want to wake up early and watch as much of the Masters as I can. But when you get into the 6 a.m., that's a little before any time I need to be up.
Yeah, it's a little early for golf action. Got baseball and Masters Par 3 on. That's pretty good Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, no, a good Wednesday afternoon.
Win of the year last night for our Cardinals.
That's right. Yeah, no, that was huge. So a good
After
win
a
for
tough
them.
loss Monday.
Well, that's how the season's going to go. I feel, Brett. It's going to be a lot of those. How
6 and 5. I'm proud of it.
Oh no, I think you've got to be happy with the way the season started for the Cardinals, and they're getting started here in a couple minutes. So we'll see what they can do against former pitcher Miles Michaelis, who's on the mound for the Nationals this afternoon. So that should
always with no batting
fun.
practice when he was with the Cardinals.
That's right.
Could not miss some bats, could he?
Hopefully it's batting practice again today. He is off to a rough start with Washington, so hopefully that continues today.
Yeah, boy, he could catch every part of the center of the barrelhead, couldn't he?
He definitely can. So that'll be fun. But yeah, a lot of baseball already underway. Already a couple of finals. Guardians all over the Royals and San Diego all over Pittsburgh. So a couple finals already. Not a lot of baseball tonight. Only 2 games that will start after we're done with our show, so 6 o'clock or later. So a lot of day baseball today. Obviously the Masters. So yeah, if you're looking for some afternoon, some midday action, today's the day for it, and then that's going to carry us into the weekend. More day games tomorrow around Major League Baseball, but obviously the Masters going on tomorrow and Friday, and that will get us the weekend. So if you were looking for kind of that I need some day action in my life, you've reached it. The rest of the week is going to be really, really nice with a lot to watch.
Connor Griffin in a new tax bracket with the Pirates, isn't he?
Yeah, a really nice deal for him. 9-year, $140 million. It can get up to $150 million by the time it's all said and done. He got called up last week, and they were pretty much had that deal in place when he got called up. But because of the way Major League Baseball works now, they try to incentivize you to call guys up before giving them the big deal. So it was kind of we'll wait to sign the papers, go out there and play a little bit, and now getting that deal finalized. So huge for him and good for the Pirates to get another star wrapped up, and we'll see what that looks like over the next couple of years.
He's scuffling. He's 19. He's scuffling. Had the big opening day at Pittsburgh game after the call-up, was really kind of the hero of that, and I didn't get a chance to mention it last Friday. It looks so good to see Pittsburgh packed and rocking, playing the Orioles. Look like the 79 or the 71 World.
Yeah, no.
How in Pittsburgh they are 3 on the sports scene.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. But it was a good scene. It was fun to see so many people out there, and obviously they've got a lot to be excited about with some of these young guys that they're now bringing through, and certainly a lot of excitement for Connor Griffin, like you said, who's kind of struggled to start things off at the plate. But obviously, like you said, 19 years old. I'm all right if he struggles a little bit. You got to know that that's coming when he's out there. But it's been pretty good in the field, and they really had some issues at that shortstop position in the middle infield. And so to bring him up to at least have that kind of promise and excitement of the future, I know a lot of people in Pittsburgh really excited about that. And
the Pirates, they almost as much as any team in the sport, they want something done to the collective bargaining agreement. They have to have some sanity, or they have no hope.
No, and there's already the talk, and was even the talk last year of Paul Skeens, that whenever it is able for him to go and get to one of these big time clubs, that he's going to do that. And so they're in one of these spots where they get these really nice players and bring them in and develop them through their system, or draft extremely well, and then you get there and it's almost like, all right, when are they going to leave? And so I think to be able to wrap up Connor Griffin for 9 years, that's going to be a really long time that he will be a Pittsburgh Pirate, barring obviously any trade or anything. And so, to be able to lock that down certainly gets people excited. But yeah, who knows what any of these contracts and any of this looks like, once we get through next season and all of the back and forth that will happen there. We talked about the Mariners' top prospect that they locked up a week or two ago, and it seems like a lot of these teams are trying to lock up those top prospects because we really don't know what the future will look like after next season. And so it feels like that's kind of the priority for a lot of these, especially these teams that are operating in these tax brackets.
Right, one of the odd stories of the day, and when we talk golf, we'll get to it with John Goin. Bryson DeChambeau using iron made with 3D printer.
All right.
Okay.
How about that? How did it, like, was he good with it? Did it work?
I don't know how successful it's been.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
I've got a friend that bought a set of clubs at Gibson's department store in Forest City. He had a 7-iron that he could turn into a 4-iron, a pitching wedge. He could hit it from any distance.
Great.
On the money.
I love that. Yeah, not surprising. I had not seen that
3D
story.
Printer.
No, I haven't seen that story before you just brought it up. But if you had said somebody out on the par 3 contest is using a 3D printed club, I would say, no doubt in my mind, it's Bryson DeChambeau. So
man with a protractor.
Hey, he is a little weird, and obviously now that he's a big YouTuber, he's kind of likes to think outside of the box and do different things like that. So that really doesn't surprise me very much. But I would love to know how it's worked out for him today.
I know I've told the story because I just marveled at it. It was not the year that Tiger won in 2019, then COVID 2020. I didn't go in 21. It was in 22. It was in 2022, and that year Tiger was coming back from the automobile accident. Yeah. Man, it's been some comebacks for Tiger, hadn't? Mm-hmm. And he was coming back for that, and was a late ad, and everybody excited. And that year, Bryson DeChambeau played on Thursday and Friday, did not make the cut, stayed the rest of the weekend in the gallery, not inside the ropes, in the gallery, bought gear, was just a patron, walked every step watching Tiger Woods the rest of the weekend.
How about that? That's a really cool story.
That's respect.
No, it definitely is. And so I know he is a guy that, obviously whenever these live guys come back over and play in these majors, they become kind of the popular names. And Bryson DeChambeau, he is a very popular name to win it. No, he definitely is goofy, but seems like a lot of people throwing down some cash on Bryson DeChambeau to win it all this weekend. And we'll see. Hopefully he's not out there with a 3D printer on Sunday or Saturday when he's trying to make a run to win it all.
Every champion donates a club to Augusta National for them to have in their display cases. I don't know that they want a 3D printed club.
I don't know if they want it, but I would not be surprised if that's the one he tries to
donate.
That's right. Oh, hey, this one's special. This one's unique. Here you go, and hands it over to him. So now,
when's the Fred Smith decision? We're getting soon, aren't we?
Tomorrow night is the decision. It was supposed to be today. They had to move it. I don't know exactly the reason why the move. Is some sort of logistics thing. But it was supposed to be this afternoon. I think it was supposed to already happen. I think the original original scheduled was Wednesday at 2:30, if I'm not mistaken. That was the original kind of announcement, and then yesterday they changed it, and now I believe it will be tomorrow night at 6:30. If I'm not mistaken. So
the Tigers need a hometown star.
Yeah, no, it is. Tomorrow at 2:30. Okay. So it might have been supposed to be tonight at 6:30, and then change it to tomorrow at 2:30. But tomorrow, Thursday, April 9th at 2:30. So yeah, I mean he's the name that a lot of people assume is going to choose Memphis. That's the favorite on all the recruiting sites. But yeah, to get a local guy to commit out of high school to Memphis and go be a Tiger, I think would be huge, because obviously last year you had a couple of Memphis guys on the team, but there is a difference between being a guy that out of high school commits and signs with Memphis and then going somewhere else and transferring to Memphis. It's not that big of a difference, but I do think there is a difference there. So getting a guy that played here high school and is going his freshman season to be at Memphis, I think we'll get some excitement around the Memphis fan base.
And I just wonder how big a piece he will be next year, how much they will depend on him, and because it is really not a place for freshmen anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what's becoming in college basketball. Yeah, and really with Memphis, we've seen over the last couple of years with true freshmen that Penny Hardaway brings in, they don't get a defined role to start the season. They're more kind of towards the end of the bench and come in different situations. And so yeah, I mean, that's what I would expect Fred Smith to be if he is at Memphis next year, is kind of a rotation guy, gets a handful of minutes here and there. Now, he could certainly go out there and earn a lot more minutes, but just based on what we've seen recently with Penny Hardaway, I would not expect him to be kind of one of those core starter pieces as a true freshman. But definitely some excitement building to tomorrow, and once we ultimately get that decision, I guess now looking at when that time will be, by the time we start the show tomorrow, we will know where Fred Smith is going to play college basketball and if it will be the Memphis Tigers.
All indications it will be.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Obviously, it's been kind of a while of waiting. A lot of people thought he would make his decision a lot sooner, but waiting, and now tomorrow we will see what that will be. But you're already seeing a lot of names pop up with guys that are receiving interest from the University of Memphis, but nothing crazy so far in terms of reports of any commits or anything for Memphis. It's been very quiet for kind of everybody in college basketball, as I think a lot of these guys were told, go and wait a couple days before ultimately announcing that you're committing, so that there isn't any clear indication of stuff happening before the portal actually opens. So I expect we'll start seeing more and more commitments later tonight, tomorrow, the next day. But a lot of eyes on what this Memphis staff will do, and some of the guys, you're seeing a lot of kind of low major, mid-major guys that are getting offers from Memphis, or at least receiving interest. And so we'll see over these next couple days and weeks what this roster starts to take shape and what it starts to look like for Penny Hardaway.
We're going to talk some college football today, not a lot, but just start with some spring checking in with people. And our friend Brad Crawford at CBS Sports, he did the big deep dive 1 through 68 of all the power conference quarterbacks and Notre Dame. He has listed number 1 Dante Moore against Oregon. I love Brad Crawford. I do. I love everything Brad stands for personally too, away from his business. Love Brad. So this is not a shot at all. Did Brad watch Dante Moore against Miami?
Well, that's a good question.
Number 2, Julian Sayin. Mm-hmm. Did we watch Julian Sayin against Miami?
No.
Number 3, Arch Manning. Mm-hmm. He didn't play Miami. Mm-mm. Number 4, Trinidad Chambliss. Mm-hmm. He played Miami and played really well.
Yeah, he did.
Number 5, Darian Mensah. You want a corny joke?
Sure.
Wonder if he's a member of the Mensa Society.
Sorry, okay. All right.
Is that okay? Number 6, C.J. Carr. 7, Gunnar Stockton, our 3:30 guest. I will ask her about that. Everybody, you're sleeping on Gunnar Stockton.
I'm sorry, Brett. I haven't been able to listen. Where is Gunnar Stockton at?
7.
Okay.
7 behind C.J. Carr.
Okay, gotcha.
And Darian Mensah of the Mensa side. Really smart guy.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Went to Duke.
I mean, he did. And Tulane. I mean,
gotta
how
be
about
smart.
that?
Proof positive. Tulane and Duke.
I mean,
they
talking about
they don't let me
academic
walk
schools.
on campus at either place.
No, but yeah, he's been at both those, and now
If
going
you're
back
named
to
Mensa,
Miami.
you got to be a genius, don't
you?
you?
Automatically get a scholarship to both of those places. That was good, Brett. I will give you credit for that. But
right up there with my Adele joke.
no, that was the Adele joke was phenomenal.
Yeah,
that was I had not heard that before. That was really good. Yeah, I mean, Dante Moore, he feels like kind of the hot quarterback right now going into next season. And I really do think the main reason is because, and you know, I just now was able to pull up the story from Brad Crawford, and it says, you know, ahead of the 2026 NFL Draft early entry deadline, Moore stunned most by announcing his return to the Ducks as a projected top 5 pick. So I think a lot of people look at that and you know, say, man, this was a guy that, you know, all indications said he would have been the second quarterback taken and probably the second pick in the NFL Draft if he had stayed. Now coming back to Oregon, I think getting a lot of hype around that just because of that decision. Now also, you know, I will say, at least for me personally, there's a lot of times I forget about Oregon up there because they're playing so late and they kind of get lost in the shuffle. And you know, Dante Moore had a really solid year.
Sure did. Great
last
player.
season. But I do think
I don't think he's better than Trinidad or Stockton.
Sure, and you know, I think you can make that argument about, you know, a couple of these guys up at the top, and certainly you got to number 3, and you know, Arch Manning. It's kind of been the love fest around the country with Arch Manning ever since before he even stepped foot on a college campus. It was Arch Manning going to be the next big thing, and you know, he hasn't shown a ton, but continues to be at the top of these quarterback rankings.
I do firmly agree with Brad in his description, his first sentence about Arch. He said, if you think this is too high, then admit it. You watched the bad Manning highlights in September, decided on your take, and then never tuned in again. From October 10th on, he was as advertised.
Yeah, you saw,
and the offensive line grew.
Yeah, no, I mean, you saw the improvements certainly for Arch Manning, and now it's the question of, can he put an entire season of that together and become kind of what everybody thought he would be the second he stepped foot on campus. You know, it's just, you know, yet to be seen from him. But I mean, looking at this, really the top, you know, 5, 6, 7, even the top 10, we're going to have some really, really fun quarterback play next season in college football. There's some really good names up here. The
Trinidad Chambliss superpower is his thinking ability. He's got all the gifted athletic ability and been very, very, very well coached last year by Lane Kiffin and Joe Judge and by Charlie Weiss last year, and will be this year by the new offense coordinator and Joe Judge and Pete Golding watching over the program. But the really, real superpower, he just does not turn it over.
No.
His ability to think, get out of a bad play, get into a good one. He's at the top of the heap of thinking, man, quarterback. I think the most poised under pressure Ole Miss quarterback I've ever seen.
Wow. Holy cow, that is certainly high praise. So, yeah, it's going to be fun as, you know, it's starting. We're kind of getting there. As spring ball is starting to wrap up, a lot of places you're starting to see a lot more lists and people starting to put things together.
I know who's played quarterback at Ole Miss.
Well, yes, there's been some good
I know
ones
anybody wants to offer up a name,
Sure.
But yes.
Wow, I mean, that really is high praise. So we'll definitely, like you mentioned, talk some Georgia football here in a second, but we've got a busy show. So let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Kaylee Mansell from Dog Nation. She'll join us. A lot to talk about with her. We'll talk some Georgia football, get kind of a spring football update, talk about their quarterback, talk about what they did in the offseason to bring guys in. We might talk some Georgia basketball as well for a quick second with the ugly exit for them in the NCAA tournament, but also Masters going on down in Georgia, so we got to get some Masters talk with Kaylee before we let her go. 3:45, we'll talk some Major League Baseball. Already a lot of day baseball going on around the country. We'll talk about some of those games, the action that went down last night, including a base brawl between the Angels and the Braves.
Boy, it was some haymakers, Stone. I didn't see any landed.
I was about to say, nothing landed, but oh boy, they were.
If they had, swinging. Somebody had been dead.
Oh yeah, no, they were certainly throwing punches for sure. And now the suspension.
It was a melee, wasn't it?
It definitely was. It was, you know, we always kind of talk about these sports brawls, sports fights. No, that one was out there for sure.
I really do.
It's something else. But
it says something about me. I know, but I do like it.
Definitely not. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Connor Griffin, his new deal, and all of the baseball action across MLB. 4 o'clock, John Goen from Timber Trust. He'll join us. We'll talk a lot of golf. We'll start previewing the Masters, and then we'll get to golf picks that time of year again.
No longer friends when it gets to golf picks.
No, it stops there.
It's the most contentious banner.
No, it definitely is. There's no question about it. And so
barely friends after that banner goes up for somebody.
Let the love happen in this first hour, because at 4 o'clock it comes to a screeching halt when John joins. I think it's John that brings it. I think
really
when we get him on the phone, it's like something changes over the entire show. So it'll be a lot of fun with John at 4 o'clock. 4:30, talk the NBA and the Grizzlies. Grizzlies in action later tonight, so we'll talk about their game tonight, but also a lot of stories around the NBA. 4:45, we get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. He'll join us, talk college basketball. We'll take a look back at the season, at the national championship game, start talking transfer portal. Will be our final visit with Kevin Sweeney on a weekly basis. So a lot to get to at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll talk about what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Mo's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The Floor Model Spa Sale. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. It's time to make room. Deep discounts on over 100 display models and in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, and cold plunges. Have you been dreaming about a new spa? Well, now is the time to buy. Spas as low as $99 a month with over $1,000 in free upgrades with every spa purchased. $8,000 spas only $159 a month with free LED lights and a waterfall available on most models. So head out there to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sports Time. Bryant, Brett, Landon, whole gang here live and local and with you until 6 o'clock. And we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will join us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255, live and local from our Family Leisure Studios. And this hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2026 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. You can call them at 901-334-9673, but they want you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway, and that's where you can put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2026 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it is the NBA as we start to wind down this regular season. For a lot of teams, it will be the final couple of games that they play this year. That includes the Memphis Grizzlies, who are on the road tonight against the Denver Nuggets. That game scheduled for an 8 p.m. start. But on the flip side of that, there are a lot of teams trying to finalize where they will be in the standings, and still some things to be decided. But you look at the top of both the Eastern and Western Conference, I think we are shaping up to have a really fun NBA playoffs. Over in the West, we know how strong it is. We're OKC at the top, but not far behind them, the San Antonio Spurs. And speaking of the Spurs, over the weekend they had that big game against the Nuggets, and now Victor Wembanyama out with an injury, but it feels like everyone thinks the top two of Oklahoma City and San Antonio can go the furthest, but we've seen that they can be beatable and how strong some of these other teams are. Over in the Eastern Conference, it's Detroit at the top, but it feels like everybody is in agreement that Boston is the best team in the East right now after getting Jason Tatum back. But then you have the Knicks. How far do they go, and what happens after an exit? If it's an early exit, are there questions about yet again another coaching change or maybe changes to that roster? I think the Knicks are going to be one of the more fascinating teams to watch over over the NBA playoffs because of those very things. What happens if it is an early exit after making the Eastern Conference Finals last year and then making a coaching change after that? Then you've got the Cleveland Cavaliers. It wasn't long ago that we thought Cleveland was set up to make an NBA final and go on one of these big runs out of the East. So I think you even go to some of these teams in both sides of the play-ins. I think we could have some really fun play-in games, but it really is shaping up to, I think, be a lot of fun. Now, on the flip side of that, you're seeing the commissioner come out and say that changes are going to be made for tanking. Votes could happen in May about what will happen in the future for tanking and some of those tanking teams, including the Grizzlies. But it feels like a lot going to happen over the next month, but it should be a lot of fun in the NBA.
Draymond took a brief respite from ripping on Memphis and ripped on the tanking, didn't he?
How about that? I mean, you gotta, I don't know. I guess at least he gave it a breather on Memphis, but I guess you gotta have something to say if you're Draymond.
That's right. My top story, golf balls in the air early tomorrow morning for the 90th Masters. 91 competitors, no field, no tiger. That's 8 of the last 89 previous Masters green jackets handed out. Scotty Scheffler going for his 3rd at Augusta National. Rory McIlroy going for back-to-back. Bryson DeChambeau trying to add a green jacket to those 2 U.S. Open titles. Xander Schauffele win a Masters on Sunday and then win a U.S. Open in June. Bada bing, career grand slam. Just like that. It's not that hard, Rory.
No, not hard at all. I mean, that would be awesome if he did that. And I'll be curious to see what Rory does over these next couple days.
Not top story of the day.
Well, that's my not top story of the day as well. The Masters getting started already. Some fun stuff happening today with the par 3 contest. But we know tomorrow morning really is when the fun starts. While I will not be up for the first group teeing off bright and early in the morning, if you're up that early, if you're an early bird,
I'll be live tweeting it.
There you go,
Brett.
You
can catch up with me.
That's exactly what I need. I need somebody out there live tweeting it, but it is going to be a lot of fun. The unofficial start of the golf season for a lot. You already see, as always, picture-perfect scenes out at Augusta for the Masters, and really excited about what these next 4 days have in store. Obviously, the big names are all over the place with Scotty. I mentioned I saw earlier today a lot of bets on Bryson DeChambeau as these live guys come back over to participate in the Masters. You hear so much about the previous experience is what helps these guys ultimately win the Masters. So which one of these guys? Will it be a guy that's already won it before, winning it yet again, or will it be one of these new names that have played this course but just haven't been able to win the whole thing? I think a lot of storylines and a lot of fun over these next 4 days.
My not top story, we're weak in counting, and I think I can quit counting, and still no formal statement, no anything, no defense, no denunciation, no renouncement, no anything from the Grizzlies and Robert Parham about how they feel with Memphis being a punching bag, a laughingstock, a pinata, just letting us twist out there. How about a 2-sentence defense by them of a place they've called home for 25 years? Is that too much to ask? I don't think so. Sign the lease.
Yeah, it's priority number 1, and hopefully it's the first thing they get done once the off season finally starts after this week. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's get to our first break, and when we return, Kaylee Mansell from Dog Nation, she'll join us. We'll talk Georgia sports and some Masters. We do that next on Sports Time.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Memphis Public Golf has so much going on right now. Do you know that golf is up 11% at all the public golf courses? Do you know the driving range at Audubon is so popular they do about 100 driving range balls per day, 100 buckets? Wow. It's just happening. That's the way public golf is right now. There is going to be a new tournament April the 18th at Pine Hill, which is really different. 18 holes, but 3 different 6-hole formats. Scramble, alternate shot, and aggregate. That means both scores count. That's a brand new wrinkle. And if you just want to book a tee time, or if you want to find out more about all the great tournaments, because you know every course has a championship, there's the Memphis Public Links. All you got to do is go to MemphisPublicLinks.com. That's MemphisPublicLinks.com. They say better play every day on Memphis Public Links, and with the way they have improved the golf courses, that is absolutely on the money.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Let me share the story about a man named Phineas who, as a child, survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, he is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or leave his home in Israel to receive medical care, and when sirens sound and missiles fall, he cannot get to a bomb shelter for protection. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life.
Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to his home, providing care he wouldn't receive, especially in wartime. Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, Phineas says, and now again they're helping me. As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, we honor survivors like Phineas, not just with words, but with action.
Give $45 right now to rush life-saving essentials to the vulnerable under fire. Call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ, or go online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.
It's a new year, and it's the first new sale at Family Leisure. It's the floor model sale happening now. Family Leisure has deep, like diving deep discounts on over 100 display models and in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, even those cold plunges. How deep are these discounts? I'm not allowed to say. So if you've been putting off getting a new spa, then right now is the best time to buy. Here's one price I can let loose. You can get a spa as low as $99 a month. Plus, you can get over $1,000 in upgrades with every spa purchased. One other special deal, you can get an $8,000 spa for only $159 a month. And you know what? Family Leisure is going to throw in some LED lights and waterfalls on most models. Room's got to be made, and so do the deals at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Steady flow. Trying to grind out, trying to push out towards Fayette County. Already busy out through there, but it's moving. On 40, just watch your speed around New Airline Road again as you come out of Shelby County, out towards Fayette County. As it builds through Midtown, right on Schedule 240 South at South Parkway. Don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having any kind of transmission issues, come to Amco Transmissions with 2 Memphis locations. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We've got to talk some Georgia football, maybe a little basketball as well. Also some Masters. Kaylee Mansell from Dog Nation. She joins us now. Kaylee, thanks so much for joining us. A lot going on out in Georgia, especially this week with all the Masters action going on, but Georgia football, spring practice underway. What do you feel like is the biggest storyline or storylines for this Georgia team throughout spring ball?
Yeah, guys, hi. Always happy to come on. There's really no such thing as the off season. You're going through spring practice, Masters, basketball. I mean, it really is 25-8. There is truly no off season when it comes to college football. Right now, Georgia's got about a week left until their official spring game. Just had their first scrimmage last Saturday. They'll have their final one this Saturday. I mean, I think the biggest difference between this spring and last spring is we know exactly who the quarterback is. It's going to be Gunnar Stockton for sure. So there's different areas where we're really focusing on. There's two primary position battles going on for the Dogs right now. That's at wide receiver on the offensive side of the ball. Georgia returns just one wide receiver this year that scored a touchdown in any Georgia game across the board. So you're replacing a lot of production with guys like Zachariah Branch, Dylan Bell, Colby Young. So really looking to see, are they going to make use of transfers that they brought in, like the Georgia Tech wide receiver Isaiah Canyon, or are they going to lean more on some of the young talent they brought in from the high school ranks, guys like former 5-star Talon Taylor, former 4-star C.J. Wiley, who is from the state of Georgia? Really, that's going to be the big question mark, is who is Gunnar Stockton going to be throwing the ball to when things go wrong? And then on the defensive side of the ball, we're really looking at that safety group this year. The only guaranteed starter as of this moment is going to be K.J. Bolden, a 2-year starter heading into his junior season. Georgia brings in 3 guys from the portal that were all safeties, but they did the exact same thing last spring, and none of those guys ended up playing. So right now the big question marks are around the wide receiver position and the safety group. That's what we're looking at this spring so far.
Kaylee, you just changed a couple of plays the last 3 years, just a couple, and Kirby Smart's got another 1 or 2 national championships and to go with the 2 he's already won. He's at 2. Do you feel like the Georgia fans are satisfied, I don't mean it like this, with just 2, or is it always wanting more?
Well, I think it's a tough position to be in because so early on in his career, I mean, Kirby Smart set the bar as high as the bar can go. And then that's in the midst of some of the biggest changes we've seen in college football when you add NIL and expanded playoff into the mix. I mean, some of that expectation has to change. I think the Georgia fans would take Kirby Smart over anyone else. I think that any college football program would give up their head coach if they had the chance for Kirby Smart. So it's like a rock in a hard place almost, where you know you've got the best guy, but it just feels like they haven't been able to take that extra step or make that adjustment in this modern era of college football to get back to what it was in 2021 and 2022. But I think that they're a lot more confident in this year's group as opposed to last year. So I actually thought that the reaction from fans after the Sugar Bowl loss, I thought they would take it harder. I thought we were going to be talking people off the ledge. But at the end of the day, I think the respect for how Trinidad Chambliss played maybe smooth some of those things over. So, yes, the expectation for Georgia and Kirby Smart is always going to be a national championship. I'd like to think that maybe he gets one more before he retires. But I will say, just headed into this upcoming season, I don't think fans are as disappointed as I initially thought they were going to be.
Kaylee, that respects both ways. Gunnar Stockton, seeing him twice in person last year, I could watch him every game, winner, winner on, off the field. We were just going over a list of quarterbacks next year, and we love Brad Crawford. This is not a shot at him, but he has Gunnar as 7th. There's no way there's 6 quarterbacks better than him.
I mean,
in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it depends on what given day it is, because there were times last season where I thought he looked like, if not the best, number 2 or number 3, and then there were other times, especially during the later parts of the season, when you think about games like Georgia Tech, where I thought he severely underperformed. Now, I think that ranking is probably maybe not on par with what I would do. I would say somewhere in the top 5, but I don't think I would put him necessarily in the top 3 just based on the consistency factor. But when you come into the season knowing who your starting quarterback is going to be, that takes an extra layer of stress, and you can focus on the skill players around him. But I think what it comes down to for Gunnar, and it's a shame because during spring, you don't really hear much about the starting quarterback. They want to do PR for the backup quarterback. So we really haven't heard a ton about what Gunnar's done because they're trying to push what the backup quarterback can be. For him, it's, can he throw the ball downfield consistently? Can he get over that fear of turning over the ball? Because I thought there were some moments last season where he didn't take the risk and fear of turning the ball over, and I understand that. But when you think about the overtime win at Tennessee, Gunnar took that game over in the second half completely because he took shots downfield. I thought we saw less and less of that as the season went on. So I think for Gunnar, I mean, really, a lot of the success of this program this season is going to be dependent on him and if he can make those explosive passes.
No, absolutely. Talking to Kaylee Mansell, she joins us from Dog Nation, where she covers the Georgia Bulldogs. Over on the basketball side of things, it was a first-round loss for the Bulldogs against St. Louis. What was the reaction to that result, to that loss from the fan base, and kind of what is the conversation like going into this offseason around Mike White and this team?
And Kaylee, it cost me on this show, our producer, Landon, that caught up with you. He had SLU in the first round, and I had Georgia, and he ended up beating me by one. If we could have swapped those, I would have been bracket champion.
Wow.
Oh, man, I hate that for you. But those 8-9 matchups are hard in general. I missed out on a lot of those on my bracket this year. The reaction from the Georgia fan base about how that game turned out is what I imagined it was going to be like when Georgia lost the Sugar Bowl. I mean, we were having to talk people off the ledge on the show. It was almost so disappointing to the point where it was comical. And it was like you give the fan base this glimpse of hope that, okay, maybe the basketball program is taking a turn, because it is historically one of the worst basketball programs in the SEC. You get a new coach, make the tournament one year. The expectation is that you go a little bit further and you get a little bit better with each year. It was just embarrassing. I mean, I turned that game off at halftime because I thought I was going to bleed out of my eyes. It was so bad. And as a former basketball player, it's just easy to judge those small things. Mm-hmm. The shot selection was awful. You could just tell that the effort level wasn't there. So, I mean, the immediate reaction from everyone, and it's like this for any sport, you put the blame on the coach. So everybody wants to blame Mike White, and I understand that. But then you listen to insiders who work for different networks and different media sites, and they're like, just give him time. Because in basketball, I mean, the turnover rate's insane. Because you've got guys that can go to the league after 1 year, and then transfer portal is just absolutely madness. So I think after everything kind of smoothed over a few days, they were like, okay, I don't know who else Georgia would take in this instance. So I really think that right now the shot clock is on Mike White. What does he do in this following season? How do you follow up on that horrendous loss? Can you take it any further? So right now there's a little bit of patience, but that patience is going to wear really thin if they can't be more successful in this next season.
Kayla, I know there's not a jock dorm anymore, athletics dorm anymore, but please tell me, somewhere on campus, these two great names out of Central Casting, Cash Jones and Blue Kane, they've got to be buddies. Please tell me they're friends.
They've both been in the Georgia programs for a long time, so I don't know if they have a relationship, but I would imagine that they have crossed paths at some point, because you just want to talk about, like you said, legendary names in general. We were just talking about a recruit earlier that Georgia's going after. It's a 4-star tight end, number 2 tight end for the class of 2027. His name is Jackson Dollar. And I was like, Georgia's got to get him for the fact alone that they're getting rid of Cash Jones. You have to add another money name back into the mix on this team.
That's right. Keep the currency rolling. We're visiting with Kaylee Mansell, and it is always a blast. I saw your dad on the Paul Feinbaum show the other day, and this week, like all of us that are so proud and love it so much, he had on a Masters shirt. You're only 2 hours away. You were fortunate enough growing up to literally cut your teeth on the Masters and what this week means.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I have never had the opportunity to go to the Masters. I actually had a chance to go tomorrow, but I'm staying back here in the Dog Nation studio to host our morning show while our host is out on vacation. So sometimes duty calls, but I will say the influence expands all over the state. I mean, every Monday, the week that the Masters starts, you go to work, you go to a restaurant, you go get coffee, and everybody's in Masters gear. And if they don't have the Masters logo, then they're wearing green. I mean, it really is a celebration of its own across the entire state. And I know my sister and her fiance already ordered the Masters hosting kit that they do, so they'll partake in that. And so even though I haven't had the chance to go, I mean, the legacy and the tradition, if you haven't been, you know exactly what it is that you're getting yourself into, because it is so traditional, and they really preserve the things that make the Masters what it is. So hopefully I'll get the chance to go one day, but it really is one of my favorite sporting events to watch. It's on my bucket list of things I want to do. It's at the very top. There really is just nothing like it. And, I mean, just the culture surrounding it, that even if you've never been, even if you don't live in the state of Georgia, you know what the Masters is.
And, Kayla, I would kind of chuckle for years when the chairman of Augusta National was Billy Payne, proud Georgia Bulldog, but Bobby Jones is forever going to be Georgia Tech founder. So this week, Tech and Georgia can lay down the rivalry for a week, can't they?
Yeah, it's funny. They actually asked Kirby about Georgia players or former Georgia Bulldogs in the Masters. He had absolutely no clue. There's 5 participating this week. I would love to see a Georgia guy win it. Bubba Watson won it in the last, I think, 13 years. So it'd be cool to see that glory restored. But, I mean, to be honest, we had to turn in our Masters picks today, and I am taking Ludwig Oberg. I like a young guy to win it this year. So I had Rory last year, but I don't think that's necessarily fair of me to give myself the credit because I took Rory every year until it was finally his moment. So eventually, if you keep throwing out hot takes, one's got to land, right?
That's right.
Ludwig, a Texas Tech guy, they're going to be in the playoff again, too, so kind of college football and golf coinciding.
Well, I would hope so. They're spending a lot of money on that roster, so you got to reap the benefits of it.
That's right.
Yeah, Kaylee, have you not heard the news? Cody Campbell's rich. I mean, everybody only tells us that with every story.
Yeah, I mean, we even saw variances of that throughout this past recruiting season because the number 1 player in the state of Georgia, LaDavian Guyton, a 5-star edge who ended up reclassifying into 2026 out of Benedictine Military School. You know, Georgia was in the mix for him for a long time, but he ended up signing with Texas Tech, which felt very random in the early parts of that recruitment. But as you hear more and more about the backing, the financial backing and the boosters that they have, it's like, okay, this is one of those schools now that's going to be a contender with Georgia's top recruits. In the past, it's been schools like Oregon and Miami, Texas, and Ohio State, the usual suspects. But now you're just adding another school into the mix that is going to compete for the most elite 5 stars of each recruiting cycle.
Yeah, it's crazy out there in this new day and age of college athletics. But Kaylee, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Always a lot of fun to get you on, and we'll definitely have to do this again soon.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have the chance to talk after the spring game. And with that, thank you guys so much for having me on. It's always such a pleasure, and I hope you guys enjoy watching the Masters this week.
Thanks, we will. Kaylee. Thank you so much, Kaylee. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Kaylee Mansell joining us from Dog Nation. Always fun to have her on. She obviously knows her stuff when it comes to the Bulldogs, both
Picking
football
Ludwig.
and basketball. I like that. You know how I like Ludwig, so
we might hear that again in about 35 minutes.
Well, I'm sure we will. I'm sure somebody will take Ludwig in the first round, or at least I hope. I guess you can't take him in the second round, but so hopefully somebody takes him.
No, he's the top 4 picker. He doesn't go.
That's right. Outside top 20 for that second pick, that shock pick. So going to be a lot of fun here, and about 25 minutes when we get to those picks with John going. But right now we need to get to another break. When we return, Major League Baseball all over the place today. Had some games last night as well. So when we return, we're talking MLB. That's next on Sports Time.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Attention business owners, now you can protect what matters most with EnviroMaster Services. EnviroMaster is a health and safety company providing complete disease prevention and odor control programs for commercial properties and restrooms. Don't take a chance. Let EnviroMaster kill the germs that kill your business. Right now, EnviroMaster is protecting over 300 Memphis area customers. So let EnviroMaster protect your business. Call 901-500-5361 or go to enviro-master.com.
Hi, it's the Herd. If you're over 40, you'll recognize this. You're doing the right things, going to the gym, trying to eat right, but your energy's down and your metabolism's slower. That's not a discipline problem, it's biology, and it doesn't fix itself. Most men try to push through it. More caffeine, more restriction, more willpower. That's not the issue. Support is. I've taken M-Drive for years, every morning with my coffee. M-Drive Boost and Burn is built for this. Steady energy and metabolism support. So your effort actually works again. It's designed for everyday use without extremes or spikes. It's also the #1 men's health brand at Sprouts. So if you're over 40, the longer you wait, the harder this gets. Go to mdriveformen.com. The code, as always, is HERD, H-E-R-D. For 20% off your first purchase, H-E-R-D at mdriveformen.com. Or find it on Amazon or Sprouts. M-Drive for men who still show up.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
Men, if you're tired of relying on pills and want lasting, natural performance in the bedroom, Bluff City Health and Wellness offers Apex RF. Backed by clinical research, this discreet 15-minute, non-surgical treatment boosts blood flow, sensitivity, and confidence. No pills, no needles, no side effects. Appointments are filling fast. Call Bluff City Health and Wellness today at 901-800-7606 or take the ED quiz at bchwonline.com. Bluff City Health and Wellness, your confidence in the bedroom naturally.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With over 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots?
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, Major League Baseball all over the place today as we've got a bunch of day action. Pretty much most of the games today happening either already final or going on right now, getting ready to start. Only 4 more games that have not started, 2 of them starting at 5:40, the other 2 a little bit after 6 o'clock. So not a lot of night action, but all the talk today has not been on any of the actual baseball being played today or last night. It was the base brawl that we had in L.A. Jorge Soler, Ronaldo Lopez going at it as Soler, he hit a home run his first at-bat, got hit the second at-bat, and then his third at-bat looked like he was being thrown at, did not take kindly to it, charged the mound, and the rest is history. Those two going after it, everyone else coming in, but some haymakers being thrown, none connected. But my favorite part of the story was Walt Weiss out of nowhere coming in and tackling Jorge Soler, and then to come to find out he's a black belt in Taekwondo, so he knows how to take somebody down, and did that last night.
Open field tackle, wasn't it?
That's right, it sure was. I mean, it was. He got those hits.
Why did he hang on to the ball and keep punching with the ball in the hand?
I love that idea. I've never seen it before, but as I think about it some more,
it's a gigantic hand.
It's a very big hand. Here's the thing, Brett. If I'm a pitcher, my hands are very important to me for obvious reasons. I don't want to be throwing punches with my hand. If I've got a baseball, I mean, look, I've never been hit by a baseball in terms of like that, like someone just like swinging a baseball at me. But a baseball is not a soft object. It's pretty hard. If you're coming down just trying to hit, I feel like it could do a little bit of damage.
And didn't he keep his glove on the other hand?
He did. Yeah, no, he was not.
So he stayed in the ready position.
I like that. I mean, smart. Don't use your fist. Just use what you got attached to your fists, I guess.
It was some of the wildest swinging.
It was crazy.
Nothing like
No, nothing. I think at one point the baseball might have caught Soler's helmet, but that was the most of anything that got connected. So no, it was wild. Now both guys getting a 7-game suspension, fines attached to it. So
which impacts the everyday player much more.
Yeah, which is I always think that's weird when it comes to the pitchers being suspended, because 7 days he's gonna miss 1 start. Okay, I guess, but Soler is gonna miss 7 actual actual games where he would be in the lineup every single day, whereas, you know, the pitcher in any of these situations, they're not out there every day. They're only out there about once a week.
We've used the respect word a couple of times a day, and you could see it last night. Did you see one of the real peacemakers, an opposing player, not in anybody's face, but getting people to back down? Mike Trout.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I did not see that.
You know, usually in that, you hold your guys back, and we'll hold our guys back. Don't say or touch my guys.
Yeah.
But Mike Trout was kind of not in one's face, aggressively, but just playing peacemaker.
Interesting. Yeah, I missed that. Yeah, I've seen the highlights around. I'm still mad that I'm not able to watch any Braves games this year. So I was when I heard that was going down, I was like, oh, let me get my phone, let me go and watch it to see kind of the build up and everything. And I can't watch Braves games live. So it's
I shouldn't say I like a baseball brawl, because you can be very seriously injured. There have been careers ended and altered at the bottom of those piles. Lupinella picked up Spaceman Lee and dropped him on his shoulder, and he was never effective again pitching.
Yeah, well, but let's be honest, Brett. We all kind of like a brawl in sports every now and then. I mean, you like to see the guys get
usually in August and the dog days when you've seen each other a bunch and you're mad at each other.
Well, it's weird. It must be something in the water around Major League Baseball. I mean, Contreras the night before, he was going after Milwaukee.
Well, he runs hot, but I don't blame him. He gets hit a lot.
He does.
But when you stand on top of the plate,
that's true. That is.
And you've got a body of armor on.
Yeah. I do love it, though, because obviously his brother, the catcher for the Brewers, I saw somebody was like, I mean, why didn't he just like talk to his brother and be like, hey, like, can we figure something out of me?
Quit ordering up the hits.
But I love the idea, and I started thinking about this after I think someone on social media pointed that out. I love the idea of William Contreras being like, guys, let's just hit him every time he comes up. Like, that would be hilarious if the brother's just like, look, he hates it, let's just hit him every time he comes to the plate.
There's a Cardinal-Cub brawl in the 70s. I mean, it was just people everywhere.
Really?
They couldn't get it broken up. One of my favorite Cardinal brawls, Mike Shannon slides in hard against the Braves, and they had all fielding, no hitting, really slight guy. Felix Mion was the shortstop. Mike Shannon just beat the hell out of him.
Wow. Really?
Right there at second base.
I love that. Oh, that's great. But yeah, no, the
Felix Mion wasn't going to whip Mike Shannon.
No. It's a little bit of an advantage and disadvantage there, I would say. But no, it's been a wild couple of days around Major League Baseball. But Brett, don't look now. Who's this guy batting in place of Jordan Walker? 3 home runs in the last 4 games entering today. He has been red hot, hitting 300 on the season. So
see what patience does? I've been very patient with him through the years. Said, maybe this year could be that breakout year.
Yeah, no.
That's what patience does.
Patience is very important. It's a key in life. Everyone needs a little more patience, and yes, you've been very patient with Jordan Walker in his career.
One time I said he did nothing well. Doesn't throw.
Yes, I remember having a similar conversation when we were making our baseball picks about Jordan Walker. I don't remember it playing out this exact way.
He's finally hitting the ball hard and high in the air.
Yeah, even that's a good point, because even the ones that aren't home runs, 4 home runs on the season so far, but
he had a big loud out last night.
Yeah, he's making really good contact and looking really good to start the season. That's right. But they're in action right now against Washington. Last time I saw a score, they were up 2-0. So maybe another win here for the St. Louis Cardinals. But we need to wrap up this hour, get to another break. When we return, we're talking all things Masters. John Goen from Timber Trust, he joins us now. We'll do a lot of golf talk, but we'll also get to our golf picks for the Masters, which gets started tomorrow morning. We do that next on Sports Time.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Listen up, Rebel fans. Your next winning drive starts at Landers Ford in Collierville. Their game plan is simple. Find you the most savings possible. Make a trade, lower your payments, or let them buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from them. That's how you keep moving the chains. Just like the Grove on game day. Fans all across the Mid-South keep coming back to the #1 Ford dealership in Greater Memphis. See them today in Collierville or online at LandersFordMemphis.com. When you own a Landers Ford, you get the support of a certified service tech with the Landers Ford Remote Service Experience Program. They pick it up, drop it off, or fix it on the spot, so you're never left watching from the sidelines. To finish the drive, the iconic Landers Easy Pass always brings more for your trade and the biggest discounts to put you in victory formation. And now, straight from the 1977 Ole Miss football team that took down #1 ranked Notre Dame, the final snap of the day from Landers Ford President Don Kitchens.
If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much. As reported on Ford's 2024 Total New Vehicle Retail Sales Report, Memphis Market.
Too many families face a widening gap between what they can afford and what they need to thrive. More than half of families in the U.S. today are one paycheck away from financial crisis. At Good 360, we deliver hope when families need it most, providing essentials like clothing, hygiene items, and household goods. Put help within reach. Learn more at good360.org.
Napa Cafe celebrates 28 years in 2026.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet peculiar peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finish with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes. Or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger-buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. We can't wait to serve you.
Come join in and celebrate 28 years of Napa Cafe in 2026.
Sports 56 traffic.
Afternoon, T-Dot's wrapping up a couple of wrecks out here as he builds already over here on 240 East, passing Mill Branch all the way to 385 as you get on the Billmore Parkway. So far, so good out towards the Collierville area. Now, it is building already on 40, especially over here around Germantown Parkway. Watch for a little bit of radar out here this afternoon. Don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having any kind of transmission problems, the light may come on. Just bring it to Amco Transmissions with 2 area Memphis locations. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Dacus.
And she says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you as we start our second hour on this Wednesday afternoon. The par 3 contest just wrapped up at the Masters, and I think that is kind of like the ceremonial start of the Masters, as it will get started bright and early tomorrow morning. A lot of excitement about the tee times. Brett, you mentioned yesterday of all of the tee times with the big names kind of in each one of them to spread it out and kind of get the excitement going all across throughout the day. But we got to talk some golf, and we do it at this time during the golf season. John Goen from Timber Trust, he joins us now. John, thanks so much for joining us. Nice to hear from you again. Before we get into the Masters talk, how's everything going over at Timber Trust?
Hey, fellas. Yeah, sorry. We're pouring a concrete path on 16 today, and I got wrapped up in it. And then, although I was looking at my phone, I just lost track of time and everything else. So sorry, I'm a little bit late here.
That's okay.
Things are good. I mean, we were obviously better probably about 2-3 weeks ago before that last little cold spell. But, we kind of did a little bit of preventative on greens and stuff like that, covering them up. But, obviously the fairways and stuff kind of got set back a little bit. But, overall pretty happy. No major damage kind of coming out of the winter, especially with that little cold snap for 2 weeks, keeping everybody out of school. But, pretty pleased overall. And then we'll just kind of see if we can keep pushing forward here.
You had to have had one of your all-time marches with the great weather we had.
Well, I mean, realistically, Brett, from December forward has been, pretty good. The weather this winter, except for that 2-week stretch, has been great. So, if you
it's
look
been
at
dry, almost
the first
dry.
time that I can recall, I mean, December, January, February, and March, we beat prior years, performance. So that's definitely good. But yeah, you're right. It's drier than you want to be right now. And, you get stretches where, like this past weekend, I think we were supposed to get, originally a couple of inches of rain, and a couple of inches turned into, we got, right around a half. So, not much at all. It was enough to, help us out a little bit here and there. We didn't have to water things for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, where we've historically been used to extremely wet springs and stuff like that, we just haven't quite gotten to that point yet, which I'm not going to complain about.
No complaints at all. Tell our listeners how they can come play, and have you started the Thursday scrambles?
So yes to the second question. As a matter of fact, we're going to be playing tomorrow night. We've already moved to 5:30, so we're already in our later time slot. You can call us at 662-895-3530. We have switched to answering service. So just ask to speak to someone in the golf shop, and they will transfer you to the golf shop to be able to sign up for that. Or you can just shoot us an email at golfshop@timbertrustgolf.com. But the AI piece has been a nice little addition. I know people have had a few challenges getting accustomed to it, but she's an extremely friendly voice when you call and answer, and she's willing to stay on the phone for as long as you need her to, which is great.
That is great. John Goen with us, and we start every year with picking the Masters. And, John, there's a lot of stories out there, and we're going to get to all this in the weeks ahead. Today we're going to kind of keep it mostly on the Masters, but all the upheaval with the tour and what it's going to look like after this year. One thing we do know, this really begins the golf year when they assemble at Augusta. And you were down yesterday. Talk about your experience yesterday.
Yeah, the week that we're all excited for, and then every golf course superintendent and everyone associated with the golf course in our region absolutely get cringes over, because everybody seems to think that we can snap our fingers and be as green and prepared and look as manicured and beautiful as Augusta National looks like on TV. And they all ask questions as to why we don't look like that. So, it's always an ebb and flow part of the year in the golf business. Great to get things started. It's kind of the official start to the golf season. But knowing that, you're still kind of coming out of winter. For those who have Bermuda grass, you're still struggling with your temperatures to be warm enough to really kind of, get things to green up. You're kind of evaluating if you got any potential damage or things along those lines. So, but an exciting time of the year. As far as yesterday goes, it was great. It's never not great. I know that's a double negative, but, I think it's, golf course looked spectacular. Greens already looked like they were. I saw them syringing greens yesterday morning when I got there, and that was, basically I stepped on property sometime around 7:15. So the greens are already kind of getting a little crispy, shall we say? So it'll be interesting. I don't think their weather forecast is any different than ours. So there's no real rain in the forecast, I think, through the weekend. So
they could embarrass them this week if they wanted to, couldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I saw Rory McIlroy walking down 2 fairway, and but again, the golf course looks spectacular. I mean, the fairways are manicured extremely tight, and the rough looked like nothing. It looked like normal Augusta rough, but I think. Because of what they can do there, look, they'll never lose control of the greens like the U.S. Open has done, but I mean they can definitely push them, and I think they can get them however they want them to be. The wait for the merchandise line by the time I finally just bit the bullet and decided to jump into line was 80 minutes.
Wow,
not bad, not bad.
Wow,
boy, I walk. So, of course, the PGA professionals go through the south gate now, not the north gate, thankfully, because the north gate is insanity. But they've got a smaller merchandise area in the back, and I thought I had a chance, but although I got there about 20 to 7. By the time I got in line and everything else, I was way too far back. So the smaller one was already temporarily closed. By the time I got in, and then the front one was, it was out past the sign, which is, down almost to where like the broadcast area is for like Golf Channel and everything, which, if you're familiar, that is a massive line, and it wasn't moving, overly quick either. So, but yeah, I was able to get in there, and then
what was the tariff?
Well, with everybody's list, it was
you had lists.
20.
You got crushed.
I've got. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely you get a few folks that will ask if you're going, and then there's a couple that that I know or have that I've kind of gotten to know over the years, and who haven't had an opportunity to go, and I'm just kind of like, hey, I'm going to go. Would you like for me to get you something? And fortunately, it's not a laundry list of things. I've had that happen where I'm like, hey, I'm going to go. Do you want anything? And the next thing you know, it's about 15 things for myself and about 20 things for my wife, and I've got a few things for my son and a couple things for my neighbor's son's daughter's girlfriend's aunt, and stuff like that. But it was like $2,400 yesterday when all was said and done. So, but I did the smart thing. I just threw it all in a box and shipped it back here, and it'll be back in Memphis tomorrow. And so, yeah.
You don't have to lug it around. Is Augusta National, when you hit the property, of all the things you've been to in sports and all the golf courses you've worked at and seen and been around, is it the most consistent place in all of sports? With everything they do?
So. Yeah. Well,
I think that is the word
today, the thing that blows me away as I thought back on yesterday is every interaction that you have, security guard, gallery marshal, rope person, whatever, concessions, merchandise, any of it, is good morning, welcome to the Masters, we hope you have a great day.
The magic words. The magic words in business, John.
But it's everybody.
Yeah.
This is not, it's going to sound like it's a shot. It's not a shot. I worked for the tour for 17 years, and I was a part of 20 tour events. You go out to TPC Southwind, you're not getting that.
You're not getting it anywhere else in sports. It's why it's the most consistent, and it is just driven into them. Be nice, be pleasant, be welcoming.
It's absolutely amazing. But you have to think too. I mean, the whole town shuts down, the whole city shuts down. Everybody's on spring break, everybody's kind of doing their thing, and because of how monetarily lucrative that event is, I mean, the entire city buys into it, and because everybody benefits from it. I don't know whether it's like Chick-fil-A, because granted you can have a couple of hiccups here and there at Chick-fil-A, but I feel like Chick-fil-A is fairly consistent with what they're messaging and what they're branding and how they do things. I feel like Augusta's probably a little bit better just because they only focus on 1 week out of the year. Chick-fil-A's outside of Sundays,
really
year
now
round.
too with the women's event and the drive, chip, and putt. They're really on call now for 2 full weeks.
Sure. Yeah. No, I forgot about the women's event. But yeah, no, with the women's AM now and everything else, you're right. I mean, but it's 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that's 14 days that you got to have your A game. Well, in the college football world, you only play about 7 or 8 home games. In the NFL world, you only have about 8 or 9 home games. NBA and baseball, a lot. I understand that. I just think everybody could take something from there, and let's be like that.
Absolutely. But the thing I would love to know is, like, when do they start the training for it? Like, when?
Great question.
Augusta National manages everything, right? They don't get paid for the TV rights because they want to manage the messaging and how the broadcast goes. So they don't get paid by CBS for it. So, if that's the case, this is what they are wanting to do, and this is how they consistently operate. When do you start training all of these people? Because again, between concessions, the restroom guys, even the restroom guys are, it's like a well-oiled front 9, back 9. Which one are you looking for?
That's the question.
That's great. I love
it. And it's so organized, it's so clean, and everybody in sports, you can go to things in some areas of sport. I'm not going to call any names, but you can go that by the middle of the first half, it looks like the running of the Bulls in Pamplona have been through the bathrooms. How did they get this filthy this fast?
Look, it's as we can heap praise on Augusta National as much as we want. It is everything you think it is, and probably more by the time you go and experience it. I mean, I ran into 2 guys in the line yesterday, walking in, who were from the north part, just north of Atlanta. First time both of them have been there, and they look at you and they're like, okay, so what do we need to do? And I'm like, it's your first time. You got to walk the whole golf course.
They do everything.
You got to see the undulations in the fairways and the greens and everything. And you have to see these quadrants that these players are having to hit into, and the thought process that goes into it, as they're trying to calculate, what shot to hit and what yardage I need to hit it to, and then how far is the ball going to release, and is it going to stay in the shelf or in the area I need it to, in order to try to make par or not have to fight to make par, or, can I get away with a birdie here or whatever? I said, you've got to do, now you're going to be worn out by the time you get done.
Yeah,
but,
when you go from the big oak tree to the bottom of the golf course that the fans can get to, which is about around 12 or 13. Nobody can get back to 13 tee box. I've been told that's the equivalent of like 11 stories. Well, going down's fun. Going back up, you got to get the muscles on. Brian,
I made the mistake of walking up 10 yesterday.
Rough call. It's hard.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know what my heart rate got to, but there was some heavy breathing going on.
No, that does not.
You're in good shape,
yeah,
John.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. John, did it feel like around the course yesterday? Was there chatter about Tiger? Was it kind of brought up amongst people
Great
that were
question.
there, or was it kind of just, hey, we're here to watch the Masters?
It was, if it was brought up, it was brought up jokingly about, something. But, I didn't necessarily hear a lot of Tiger chatter. I think it's, to your point, I'm here to watch the Masters. I'm here to see the guys that are here.
And
A lot of what I could hear from folks was, I'm trying to lay his eyes on Scotty or Xander or Bryson or Rory or this or that. It's not, you didn't hear anything about Tiger. You didn't hear anything about Phil, or any of that. So they're focused on the people that are there, and they want to see, because, let's face it, Tiger is Tiger. Yes, I get it. But at the same time, Tiger's not going to be in contention for this event, going forward. So, we're now trying to move on, and Scotty Scheffler has clearly taken the throne here. And, so he's the most sought after person nowadays, between him and Rory. And, that's who you're ultimately trying to see. And then, of course, Bryson has, really gained a lot of momentum amongst fan popularity. So, people want to see him, because he can still rip it out there and everything else. So, yeah, that was the main part of it, through the course of yesterday.
Well, let's focus on the guys that will be out there this week. Let's get to some picks. The order we're starting in for the Masters. John, you go first.
That's defending champion,
That is
John.
defending champion, John. Thank you, Brett, for pointing that out as we get started. Landon's going to go second. I'm going to go third, and then Brett is going to go fourth.
Did that not? I felt like that wasn't overly genuine.
No, it was
Thank
very
you,
genuine.
Brett.
Brian, we had gone over this. We were going to give him all the glory.
That's right. No, I forgot.
Not me.
I forgot about that in our pre-show
Right,
meeting.
of
Yeah,
course.
That's on me.
John, you're up with a lock pick.
I mean, although he's had a child, or his wife has had a child recently, and he's probably not sleeping all that great, you can't not take him.
Pops.
So you take Scotty Scheffler.
Wow.
You have to.
First pick of the year.
Landon?
Big surprise there. Well, it is with great honor that I make the second pick on the new golf year. Put a lot of thought into this one, and I think I'm going to go with Cam Young.
All right. Cam Young.
Cam Young, winner on tour this year already. Brian?
All right. I'll go back to the well with one of my guys. I'm going to go with Big Bad Ludwig Aubert.
Oh, I love y'all. Number 2 on my list after Scotty, knowing he would be gone. World Golf Ranking, OWGR 24, Bryson DeChambeau as my lock.
Dang it, you.
I was going to be my lock, too.
No way I was
gonna
leaving.
fall right in my. Bryson's
No
gonna
way.
fall right in my lap for shock. Shock pick Bryson.
And look what we just
24 in the world.
Nobody taking Rory. And now you can't because we got to go
Nobody.
21 up, OWGR. John, you're shocked.
Dang on it. My plan. I had my plan. I'll take a lib guy. I'll take John Rahm.
All right.
He was my first shocker. Landon.
Okay. Well, it is with great honor that I make the first shock pick of this year, and I think I'm going to go with a guy who's made 2 hole-in-ones in the par 3 2 years in a row. That is Keegan Bradley.
This time last year, he was captain. This time this year, he's defeated captain. Brian,
Yes, he
shock
is.
us.
For my shock, I was watching all weekend, wondering where he would fall in the rankings to see if I could pick him or not. He is just outside at number 21. Going back to the well again, another one of my guys, Akshay Bhatia.
I love it. I love the high ball hitter with Akshay Bhatia, the left-hander. Lefties have won quite a bit there. My shock, Australian. Never been an Australian player that wasn't a good bunker player. He drives it well. He drives it accurately. He putts good enough. That's my biggest concern. And Brian, I want you to look up on one of the betting sites and see what his odds are. I take Min Woo Lee.
Ooh, I like Min Woo a lot.
Wow.
I think that was my shock pick last year.
Was it? At the Masters?
Look, that was your favorite golfer in the world last year.
I picked him like twice, John.
His sister.
You picked him more than
Open.
twice.
Really?
You probably picked him in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah,
each
I think
time.
so.
Maybe I
Let's
did.
not get carried away by you only picked him twice.
It's all starting to come back to me now. I do remember the love fest for Minwoo Lee. Okay, so John's got Scotty and John Rahm. Landon has Cam Young and Keegan Bradley. I have Ludwig Aubert and Akshay Bhatia, and Brett with Bryson DeChambeau and Minwoo Lee. So we'll see how.
And remember, everything pays double, and if a shock wins, that's quad. And it's going to be about 4.5 million, so that'd be about 18 million if you hit with Rom, Bradley, Batia, or Lee.
Wow! All right, I like it. I'm excited about it.
Well,
It'll be fun. Well.
Let the game begin.
So, that's right, John. Before we let you go, tell us more about what y'all have coming up over at Timber Trust.
Yeah, so as we talked about tomorrow night, two-man scramble. There's still room. This weekend, I think we have one spot left. For the Magnolia Open. That is a 4-person scramble. You'll pick a tour player in the top 20 that makes the cut, and we'll take your Saturday score and his Saturday score and pair the two together, and then we'll flight out everything and pay that out. I think there's one team left available for that. And then just regular golf, kind of going forward. So, we've got just normal weekend play. So we will have some weekend availability before the Magnolia Open and after the Magnolia Open. So if you need to visit us at timbertrustgolf.com and book your tee times there, or you can call our wonderful new AI assistant, and she will be more than happy to help you out. And again, if you ever have any problems, just say that you want to talk to somebody in the golf shop, and she will transfer you, and you can have those conversations with a staff person in the shop. But again, follow us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Timber Trust Golf Course. We post pretty much everything content-wise there as far as upcoming events and additional things going on. We also do have a Callaway fitting Friday afternoon from 2 to 6. So if you're looking for the latest and greatest in Callaway, being the Quantum equipment, and you're looking for a place to get fit, everything is complimentary that evening. But you can come down here from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. and visit us and go through a Callaway fitting and order your brand new Quantum equipment. But it should be a great weekend. We've already got the pimento and cheese and the egg salad and the barbecue all lined up. So we're ready for sandwiches this weekend for everybody, for all of our Augusta-themed stuff. The pin flags and everything will be here for this weekend. So all those lucky enough to win closest to the pin prizes on Saturday will get a 2026 Masters pin flag, and should be a great weekend. We're looking forward to it, and welcome to the golf season, guys.
I love it. Sounds like a lot of fun, John. It's fun to have you back. We're excited for the golf season. We'll do it again next week.
All right, fellas. Take care. Enjoy the Masters.
Thank you,
Enjoy, John. Thank you so much. Very, very fun. I love my team.
I like it. I like your team a lot. Minwoo Lee, odds for him to win plus 3,000. So he's out there at plus 3,000. The longest odds are for Keegan Bradley, who is plus 20,000 to win the Masters.
Take it to the bank.
Hey, you put $10 down there. That's 2,000 if he wins it all.
Is he injured?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know, but yeah, plus 20,000.
He's just an
My
underdog.
winning score, 12 under, about 3 a day.
All right, I like that. I think that would be a really, really fun weekend. I went through and looked at all the odds for everyone we picked. Scotty, obviously the favorite, plus 550. We mentioned Minwoo Lee,
That's
plus
not
3,000.
gaming.
Nah, that's not gaming at all. Bryson DeChambeau, plus 1,000. John Rahm, plus 1,000. Ludwig, plus 1,700. Cam Young, plus 2,200. Keegan, plus 20,000. And Akshay Bhatia, plus 6,500. So some interesting odds out there for all
As
our
we
picks.
were doing the golf segment, you know who hit a home run for our Cardinals?
Please tell me it was Jordan Walker again.
It was Jordan
No
Walker.
kidding. So
He
that's
did.
4 in the last 4 days?
And on the mound is my preseason Cy Young winner, Michael McGreevy.
How about that? I mean, have a
And you
day.
stake him to a 3-1 lead?
I mean, what bad could ever happen?
Hang the curly W in Washington.
Hang the curly W. I love it. No, it's Jordan Walker has been on an absolute tear lately, and hopefully he can keep this up throughout the season. But man, I missed that. I had the game on up in here, and then when I went to go write down everybody's picks, I had to turn it off, so I missed his home run. Hate that, but should be a lot of fun. Again, the action gets started tomorrow morning for the Masters. We'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the week of all the action. But right now, we need to get to another break. When we return, we'll talk the Grizzlies. They're in action tonight against the Denver Nuggets. We'll also talk the NBA. We do that next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
President's Day savings are happening now at the Home Depot with up to 40% off select appliances. Looking to upgrade your fridge? Check out LG's newest model, serving up ice in all kinds of styles. Cube, crushed, craft ice, and now new mini craft ice straight from the dispenser. From cold brew to fizzy favorites, these refrigerators will have you entertaining like a pro. Shop President's Day savings and get up to 40% off, plus free delivery on select appliances like LG at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $1,498 or more. Offer valid February 5th through the 25th, U.S. only. See store online for details.
Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis has serious fans for serious work. At 4430 American Way, they are the Mid-South source for cargo, passenger, crew vans, and custom chassis. Need one or a full fleet? New or used? They've got it with fleet solutions and custom upfits. Certified techs keep you moving with fast maintenance, repairs, and a large parts inventory. Mercedes-Benz Van Center is your Sprinter Van headquarters, 901-237-9302 or sprintervans.com. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis, part of the Tag Truck Center family, driven to keep you on the road.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com. It's time for the Ultimate Hot Wing Showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival, Saturday, April 18th at the Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy, along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll, all in support of the Ronald McDonald House and the St. Jude Walk. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com. Sponsored by RS Financial Group, ATC Fitness, Road Warrior Staffing, and Universal Access. This is your delicious chance to make a difference.
Sports 56 Traffic.
Good afternoon, cranking it pretty good now, trying to push south of Memphis on the interstate. We've had to put a little bit of radar down through there on 55. That was earlier, so be careful down through DeSoto County, all the way down to Tate County as it gets heavier here on certain sections of Sam Cooper going outbound, trying to get back up on the interstate there off Sam Cooper. Hey, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is leading the way the world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer. If you can help these kids with cancer, please log on right now, stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck. What do you want?
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we got to talk the NBA. The Grizzlies, they're in action tonight. 8 o'clock tip time against the Nuggets, and Denver, a 23.5-point favorite over the Nuggets. And I would assume, Brett, after what happened the last time these two teams met here in Memphis, that Denver would like to get some revenge tonight and like to drop a hammer on this Grizzlies team.
23.5. That's Kentucky playing Guilford in November.
Well, and the crazy thing about it is it's not even the only 20-plus point spread in the NBA tonight. The Bucks are 20.5-point dogs on the road tonight against Detroit. So how many times can you say you've just looked at NBA spreads and seen 20-plus? Even last week, I remember Friday, when we were talking some of the games Friday night, we were talking about some big spreads, and it was like 16, 17, 18 and a half, nowhere near 20, 23 like we're seeing tonight. So we're getting to the end of the season, and tanking's rolling. Those good teams, they need to win, and you see stuff like this.
Brian, I know this just highlights. It's very much highlights just the catastrophically bad year trying to get to the finish. Mm-hmm. And why are people so compliant to supportive of the people that got the franchise in this position? They're so supportive and trusting of them getting it out of it. Yeah. Again, for Wexler and Kleiman, one playoff series win. Mm-hmm. One.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point, and it's a good
and
question.
It's just hear no evil, see no evil around them.
Sure. I think a lot of people, try to point to, draft in the hope of draft success when you're kind of rebuilding. But you look at some of, even though there have been some really good picks, there's also been some picks that haven't worked out. So it's kind of a give and take. But I have seen, and I don't know how serious it is, I've just seen it. I have seen, obviously, the Bulls needing a general manager. I've seen some people try to float out Kleiman's name for the Chicago Bulls general manager job. He's a Chicago guy, and people thinking that maybe they might make a move at Kleiman to bring in and be their general manager.
Can I help him pack?
Well, I knew you would enjoy hearing that. So I don't. Again, it was just a couple of Chicago people I saw put that out.
But what has he done to merit that step up?
Nothing. I mean, I think you look at the list and of other people. I
like
saw
the
only
suspects,
a couple of lists.
I'm not digging in on you.
No. I'm not saying you are, but I think you look at the list that at least I saw with a couple of people that had him on there. It was a lot of like assistant general manager, different things that weren't general manager.
Why not have Jason Levy on it?
I mean, it's a great question. So I just think it was the fact of maybe you could swing a general manager, an NBA general manager, to take the Chicago job, and he's already been doing the job. Kind of where some of the other names have not been that general manager for an NBA team. So
Billy Knight busy?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know, but I don't know how serious. I don't think that's very serious there, but you never know.
It can't be.
I don't think so.
You can't be serious that all right. We got an issue and we got to make a change, and this is the answer.
Yeah.
You can't be serious.
No, and like I said, it was only a couple of lists I saw, just kind of hey, this just came open. Who are some names that maybe to watch for that? So it looks like this is going to be the group that leads this rebuild, and only a couple more games until we're talking being in the off season and starting to look into the future of what next season looks like. But the Grizzlies did get some help last night with some of those games out there, so they have started to move up a little bit. We talked yesterday about Pelicans and Jazz. Pelicans won that game, so now in Tankathon rankings, Grizzlies with the 6th pick right now before any lottery.
Yeah, need Dallas to win, and I don't see it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And for Denver, a lot of payback. The last loss they had was to Memphis in that game. I still can't believe what we saw. First of all, why win it for Memphis when you're doing this? But Bryant, I'm more convinced now. I just am. I'm sorry I'm going to sound like this. The time to blow it up and make sure you win 17 or 18 was at the end of last year. That was a mistake, and I said it then. I'm not waiting a year later to say it. I said it in real time then. This is the blow up. Don't go forward with Issa Loeb. Get rid of Kleiman. I don't think you can get rid of Wexler. I don't know that you can or can. He doesn't own the team, but he's the governor. He's the voting party. He's the representative for para at league stuff. But if you could, that was a time for him to be out and turn all this over and change all this. And Ja, and Jaron, and Desmond Bain. Well, they only did one of the three. I mean, we organized and orchestrated the teardown in a little bit style. There's only one way to have a teardown, and that's in a whole lot of style.
Well, and I think that's where, it was different with organizations. I don't think they wanted to view it as a teardown. And so it's kind of let's try to make this one move and see if we can, make it work. And ultimately it didn't. And obviously you saw what happened at the trade deadline with Jaron, and now, likely seeing a move with Ja in the offseason. And so, I think you're right. If you viewed it as, hey, we're going to have a teardown at some point, let's go out and just tear it all down right now and try to position yourself the best way you can for that draft. But I just don't think that's how it was viewed by them. And that is probably where the mistake happened of, can you keep going with this core? And now it looks like you're going to see the end of the massive blow up and, a very different era for the Grizzlies starting next season.
I would love to run into Jason Wexler just, somewhere around town in a calm, nice voice after I ask him when he's signing the lease, like I do every time I encounter him. I think I'm about the only one that does it. When he's signing the lease, then the next thing I would ask him, I hope in a calm, friendlier voice, you've just sat back for a week and watched Memphis be insulted. And you've said, and the team has done nothing in defense of a place you've called home, the team has called home for 25 years, and you've been at the upper reaches of the management level making money that most of us cannot imagine making in our lifetime, and you've said nothing. And your first job in Memphis was basically as a promoter, downtown Memphis, big on downtown, big on the 901, big on the river. And your expertise is supposed to be marketing, and you let us be pilloried hither and yon by people.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've talked about it. I wish, just even if it's just an organizational statement where it's not even tied to somebody's name or something, just to have something out there of, we have a great fan base, we have a great city, we love being here in Memphis, just something from somebody.
This is home.
Sure. And, we haven't seen it, and I don't think we're going to see it. We're now on however many days. I don't remember what day it was last week. I think it was last Thursday. That LeBron James video came out that kind of started all of this. So tomorrow's a week, and if we haven't heard it yet, I don't think we're going to hear it anytime soon. I
don't really know how you become marketing, promotion, that type. Unless you catch on with a great nonprofit. When his degree at Virginia was architecture and not. Scaling and planning and building a building, but discussing neoclassical versus Baroque.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I don't know the answer to that either, but we'll see if there is something that comes out. I at this point doubt we will see anything, and then season ends on Sunday, and we'll turn our attention to the off season. But before then, tonight at Denver, Friday at Utah, which that will be a really tough game to lose because Utah has shown they're doing everything they possibly can to make sure they lose games, and then season will wrap up Sunday on the road against Houston.
I don't know. I'm sure they'll do it quickly Monday, probably very early Monday.
Sure.
And I don't know that I will be able to make it to the end of the year media session where they have a couple of players and have the coach usually they hardly ever anybody from the front office executive level like Jason Wexler, but usually Zach Kleiman will appear. I don't know that I can be there. I'm going to try to. Somebody's got to ask. That will be almost 2 weeks. You've sat here for 2 weeks as a part of an organization that let Memphis just get castigated.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope somebody asks that. I mean, again, like you said, it's
and if that's unfair, then shut it all down.
Yeah, well,
then we can't ask anything other than who's your favorite all-time Grizz.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope it's asked.
What's your favorite whip that trick moment?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would hope it's asked. Like you said, it's been not only the biggest story here.
Go
but
team, go! If that cannot be asked, then shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a huge.
Just tell them to send out press releases and tell us what we're supposed to think.
No, I mean, you're right, and so it's been a national story. So I would hope somebody asks it, but there's really no telling at this point if it gets asked or not, and there will be a lot. I mean, that's one of a ton of questions that I hope gets asked to him about kind of roster construction and where they go from here, because there's a lot of unknown about what the future looks like for this Grizzlies team on the court, certainly off the court when it comes to the lease. We know he's not going to answer any. He's already been asked about that. He isn't going to answer any questions about that. So I'm sure somebody I hope will ask it, but we know we're not going to get an answer to it.
Think about it, the humiliation of and to Memphis. It really started with the schedule release last year. Of all places not to have a game on MLK Day.
Yeah, no, that's...
they couldn't have sent somebody else to those overseas games.
That's a good point. And it obviously, stood out with Memphis not having that game. And, it's going to be something we all pay attention to when the schedule is released again.
And on the court, I think it needs to be asked. We've had one year, he got the job at the end of last year before the year was over. But Tomas Isolo, we knew that the day that Taylor Jenkins was fired, he was getting the job. It was the whole idea of bringing in. It was the whole idea, and what I think, my supposition is why they tanked the year. They did not want Taylor Jenkins getting up there in one of those 4 or 5 seed spots, or maybe even better. I don't know if it could have been much better, but they didn't want that. They wanted to undercut the end of last year. He's out, Isolo's in the last year. Do you know any more about him as a coach than you knew the day he was the first day of interim?
Not much.
And how could you?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to take away when you're really seeing nobody out there. Now, I will give him some credit, to throw out these lineups of just guys that we've never heard of and guys that we would have never imagined would be a part of the Grizzlies team, at the beginning of the season, to throw these rosters out and, to have some competitive games and be competitive out there and at least kind of have some, look of a team. I think he's done a nice job with that in a really difficult situation. But it's really hard with everything that's going on this season.
And Brian, let's hope this happens. I really do. With everything I have just said and everything I've said over the last week, or everything I've said over the last year, I really hope this happens. Next Wednesday, Thursday, we get that press release. We hear the big grand lobby press conference. The mayor's there. We have a signing ceremony. Hell, we get out Trump's big old Sharpies and sign it and hold up a book that the lease has been signed. I hope that's it. And then, little nattering guy on the radio, take that. We were ready to sign the lease. My comeback to that is, why did we have to go through this to get to that when it could have been done before now?
Sure. I think that's the point. I can't wait to when it's signed, and I hope it's very soon after the season, but that doesn't change anything of the fact of this drawn out process and how long we've had to wait for it to be signed. So hopefully that's number one thing to do once the offseason gets started, and hopefully we get some news soon about that, but we'll have to wait and see. But tonight it is a road game for this Grizzlies team against the Denver Nuggets. 8 o'clock on the road tonight, 3 games left on the season. But we need to get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Let me ask you something.
I bet it's Central Barbecue related.
It is Central Barbecue related.
Shoot.
You don't want me to ask you a Central Barbecue related question?
No, I mean shoot as in go ahead and ask.
Oh, you can be very confusing.
Ask your question.
Which one of Central Barbecue's sauces is your favorite?
That's a trick question because, Central Barbecue slogan is smoke is our sauce, so you don't really even need a sauce.
Other than smoke, what's your favorite sauce?
I can't do all of them all. Mild, hot, mustard, vinegar, hot vinegar, sweet heat, all of them.
And that is how you make a Central Barbecue radio commercial.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Zach Bryan with Heaven on Tour.
Poison myself again, something in the orange tells me you'll never come.
Saturday, May 2nd, Davis Wade Stadium.
Wish I didn't, but I do.
With special guests, Dijon and J.R. Carroll. Tickets on sale Friday at 11 a.m. at ZachBryan.com. Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
When you hear the sound of coming, hear the drums drumming.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy. What up, big guy? I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Brian, I think we should switch it up today and have you go first.
I am ready. My big number is 40. We've talked about it being the 40th anniversary of Jack Nicklaus winning in 1986, and can't wait to watch the special 40 acknowledging that. It was 40 years ago for the Golden Bear. I had him, Brian, at the end of the – you'll remember this. You were here.
Of course.
At the end of the 21st century, everybody was doing their top athletes of the 20th century. ESPN did a series on it that was just – it's in the sports journalism all-timer of the countdown. And Chris Fowler narrated and counted down if not all of it, most of it. And at the top of that list, I don't want to run anybody down, but it was a lot of Babe Ruth, a lot of Michael Jordan, a lot of Muhammad Ali. I'm not arguing with any of that. In fact, I think they had Nicklaus fourth behind those three. I had Jack Nicklaus number one, is the number one athlete of the 20th century, what he did and how he did it. But heading into the Masters that year, when everybody had written the old bear off, here's what he had done in the weeks leading up to it. I'm going to work backwards. Pebble Beach, miscut. Honda, miscut. Another tournament in Florida, miscut. New Orleans withdrew his mother-in-law, his wife, Barbara's wife, mother had passed away. Hawaii, 39th. Doral, 47th. And Phoenix, 67th.
Wow.
And then he wins it.
That's crazy.
3 majors in his 40s.
Wow, that alone is incredible. That could be the first thing you say about anybody, and they would go, "Wow, that's unbelievable."
And still in the 20th century, and my favorite Jack Nicklaus nugget of anything at Augusta National, at 58 years old, T6 and beat Tiger in 1998.
Wow, so. I said that the first number, or not even your big number, but just a stat in there was one of the most impressive things I've heard. And then you just went out there and topped it. I mean, that's crazy.
T6 at 58, and when CBS came on there, you could tell in Jim Nance's voice, oh, wow, this is happening. That's and it just what, and he'd run out of holes, and everybody played well behind him, but T6 in 1998 at 58.
Wow, that is nuts. But really, really good stuff there, and it's going to be a lot of fun this week at the Masters. My big number, it comes from the NBA. It is the number 8.3. Ooh, got a decimal in there, but I had to today. That's because the Grizzlies woke up this morning, and according to Tankathon, they have an 8.3% chance of landing the number 1 overall pick. They're in the 6th spot right now before the lottery. They also have a 34.8% chance to land inside the top 4. So a good chance to move up, but also the chance to move down. And we talked yesterday about these 3 teams. It's impossible for the Grizzlies to get any higher. Sacramento is in front of them at 21 and 59. And then at the 9 spot, Chicago is 30 and 49. So it's really this 3-team little spot here between Memphis, Dallas, and New Orleans that are all kind of jockeying for 6, 7, and 8. We talked about New Orleans. They go out last night, beat Utah, a game where nobody came to play defense. 156-137, the final score of that game.
There's been no defense played in 3 months.
No, there hasn't been, and especially in Utah, they are they have not won a game in their last 10. They know exactly what they're doing in terms of the tank. But New Orleans, 2 more games left, both going to be really tough for them to win at Boston, at Minnesota. Maybe you see something in that last game with Minnesota, just not playing anybody, and they find a way to win. Dallas, 3 more games at Phoenix, at San Antonio, and then home against Chicago. And for the Grizzlies, we just talked about it, at Denver, at Utah, and at Houston. I mentioned that Jazz game. It's going to be very hard to lose against the Jazz, but those other 2, maybe Sunday something funny happens against Houston with them sitting a lot of guys. But if the Grizzlies go 0-3 over these next 3, there's a pretty good chance that they could be in that 6th spot going into the draft lottery, and then you feel pretty good about what you've got going on before you get to that lottery.
Can you imagine what that Utah game's going to be like?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, as much as everybody wants to lose these next 3, that game against Utah
race to the bottom
might be that might just be the one that's impossible for the Grizzlies to lose, because Utah knows exactly what they're doing and they've got it down.
And I haven't gotten a handle on it. I went to 16 Grizzlies games this year, and I would say everything after the first of the year was in full tank mode, and that was about 13 games. And I couldn't figure it out. Is the best tank no defense or no offense?
Oh, that's a really good question. I haven't really thought about that. I would say, I don't know what's the most effective, but I would say me, as just a viewer, I would prefer no defense, because then at least you can be like, oh man, everybody's scoring, this is fun.
Like repair and like the threes.
Yeah, but you know, the no offense, that can get a little tough to watch.
But when you get 2 movable objects,
yeah, it's true.
It's the classic. Something's got to give.
Something's got to
isn't it?
give, and something definitely will have to
Maybe
give.
something won't give.
Oh, that's
maybe that should be the setup of nothing will give.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they just come out and say, we're just forfeiting the game. Neither of us want to win, so we're just not even going to play the game tonight. But that one will be it'll be a weird watch, to say the least. But some good NBA games on tap for tonight, including Grizzlies, Nuggets, a couple on ESPN. You've got Hawks, Cavaliers, which should be a lot of fun, and then Trailblazers and Spurs in that late game, about 8:30 or so. But we need to wrap up this second hour, get to another break. When we return, we're talking some college basketball. Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. He joins us next.
Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening is coming to the Graceland Soundstage. Saturday, May 9th at 8 p.m. Jason's thunderous drumming recalls one of the greatest to ever sit behind the skins, his late father, John Bonham of Led Zeppelin. This is as close as you will ever get to letting the lead out live. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Get your tickets today at GracelandLive.com.
Napa Cafe celebrates 28 years in 2026.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations. Fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. I'd sure love to see you.
Come join in and celebrate 28 years of Napa Cafe in 2026.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Vergus. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, there's some things about the Rendezvous I want to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet parking right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to-go orders. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. Brett, we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear, please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of their mother's maiden name, dial it now. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Afternoon is trying to get a little bit heavier, trying to push south of Memphis. Here comes that volume 55 southbound through South Haven, all the way down through to Soto County. Well, there's been a little bit of radar down through there earlier. Now, it's heavy now at times over here. 240 getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is leading the way the world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer. Log on right now, stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour on this Wednesday afternoon. We got to talk some college hoops, and joining us now, our final regular visit of the year, Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. You can go follow him on social media at CBB_Central. He joins us now. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get into, but let's start with that national championship game. Michigan, they win it all over UConn, a 6-point win over the Huskies. What did you make of their performance, of their win earlier this week?
Yeah, look, I think the thing that sticks out to me, having been to probably like 10-ish Michigan games throughout the year, dating back to Players era, is they beat Gonzaga by 40 the day before Thanksgiving, and you're like, man, like how can anyone beat this team, and how can this team get any better? And people beat them, but like the thing that's most shocking to me is how much better they got. Like Cadeau was a different player in March than he was in December. Yaxel got more comfortable. Adai Mara was incredible down the stretch. The two wings, Gale and McKinney, were terrific. So I think it's just an incredible credit to Dusty May that he was able to keep a team that was anointed very early, continue to improve and get better, and that showed off. They won in different ways throughout this tournament. Obviously, a run-and-gun style game against Arizona that they dominated, and then had to win a slugfest against UConn, who had a great plan and slowed the game down and forced it into the half court, and Michigan still found a way.
UConn really did have a great plan, but I think if they played 10 times, that might have been their best shot at them, because Michigan, I don't think played – well, all those times you saw Michigan play this year, that wasn't anywhere close to the best you saw them all year, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, certainly not. Now, again, I would say that UConn was part of that. I thought they did a good job just kind of making them uncomfortable. And if UConn had made more threes and they had good looks, they had a real chance to pull that upset. Just didn't have quite enough in them. And, Michigan, to their credit, even with Yax really banged up, I thought Yaxel did a really nice job of, that stretch there, kind of mid to late second half, maybe 6 minutes to go. Yaxel scored 3 straight times down the floor, and I thought that was a critical moment, especially given how limited he was physically in the game with the ankle and knee injury.
Mm-hmm. You talk about Yaxel, and you wrote about him over at Sports Illustrated. This rise for him to playing community college basketball, going to UAB, and then landing at Michigan, and now being one of their most key players on a championship team. I know he's talked about a little bit early in his career. Maybe liked things outside of basketball a little bit more than he liked the actual game. But what do you make of just his story as a whole, and then how important he was to this Michigan team?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, this is the guy who played 11 high school basketball games.
Wow.
Was academically ineligible most of high school, was on track to not even graduate high school. His mom kind of helped him straighten up his act, get him into junior college, give him a chance to play, and the rest is history. Just such like a fun-loving and great human being. I think sometimes the lack of maturity comes through and can frustrate people, but I think one of the brilliant things that Dusty did was surround him with some people who were a little more serious and allowed Yaxel to be Yaxel. Like, you can't try to change him. He's a one of a kind person, and it was fun for me. I basically followed Yaxel around for 45 minutes once the final buzzer sounded, and watched every move and saw, like, number one, just how happy he was, how happy all the people he's brought along the way were with him. His family, his friends. He has a couple cousins that were there. That was pretty cool. The student section, like, he was so invested in this journey and didn't have to go to college this year. Could have went to the NBA, would have been a first-round pick. Decided to roll the dice, and I think he's certainly glad he did.
Boy, he sure did. And that Michigan performance, Kevin, Brian and I were talking maybe Tuesday about first time I got really on alert about Michigan. It was right after the first of the new year, and I said one day, kind of throwaway, Michigan's got that look like they could go undefeated. They go out and lose to Wisconsin next game. And I thought, when I get that far ahead? They weren't far from it. It was a juggernaut team.
They were. Look, I mean, in a year where the top of the sport was incredibly strong and all the narrative, like they were dominant at times against some of the best teams in the sport. I mean, blew out Illinois at Illinois. Obviously blew out Arizona in the Final Four. Beat the brakes off of Tennessee. Like you go through, like there weren't a lot of games that they were even in close fights, and I think that's certainly a credit to the roster they built, but also like they just had an incredible killer instinct about them. So I really enjoyed their season. They're an excellent and deserving champion.
I have no issue whatsoever with Cadeau being named MOP. Tell me, is that balloting? Is it a committee? Do you get a ballot at Press Row?
I got a ballot. Yeah, it's digital now, thankfully. So nobody's got to tally it up. I voted for Ade Mara just because I thought his defensive impact against Terrace Reed was huge, and then against Arizona, obviously, he was terrific. But Cadeau earned it, and Cadeau is so good as like a connector all tournament, and had some big buckets in the UConn game.
And it's a little bit age old. It's MOP of the Final Four. Do you think people do it enough to bring in the Saturday performance and the Saturday numbers and box scores?
Yeah, I think that's the part of the issue. Everybody kind of takes different criteria. Some people look at the Saturday and Monday. Some people are just looking at Monday. Some people are looking at the tournament as a whole. Some people just give it to the best player on the best team. It's not the most efficient process, but yeah, look, I think you could have given it to Cadeau or to Mara and felt pretty good about the vote.
You talk about Ade Mara. This is a guy that didn't really have a role at UCLA the last 2 years, then transfers into Michigan, and now a lot of people very intrigued about what he could be as a draft prospect. What do you make of that change? We talk so much, and it's usually more in football where we talk about kind of that system fit. Do you feel like Ade Mara was just a system fit at Michigan, or have we seen this growth in him where he's now turning into a massive part of championship teams and could be a big part of an NBA team?
Yeah, I think he'll be a really good pro, a really impactful, an impactful player at the next level because of the defense, because of the passing. The other thing you have to remember with Mara, like obviously, like it's become very popular to rag on Mick Cronin and how did you miss this? This guy was a superstar. Like bigs take time. He's 7'3". He's a little uncoordinated. He's a little goofy. You're coming to America. You're figuring out speaking English for the first time all the time. Like there was a lot that went into him getting his feet under him, and I thought he made big strides last year at UCLA. Went from a guy who was kind of unplayable to a guy that was a really useful rotation piece. He just couldn't stay on the floor, and obviously Michigan supercharged his development, but I do think this was coming sort of regardless. I've always been a believer, and I think he could have had a really big year had he stayed at UCLA. Now, again, would he have done what he did at Michigan? Probably not. But and that's a credit to Dusty for seeing maybe what Mick didn't. But I would also say, like, bigs do take time, and even he was obviously highly touted when he got there, but sometimes it does take a little bit longer.
Kevin, I said I've been plenty impressed with what Dan Hurley has built and what he has going at UConn, but I think I came out of this tournament thinking more of him as the national runner-up than maybe in those three championships. I think a lot of him, but to have that team come back against Duke and get to the finals, really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he did a phenomenal job this tournament. He really outcoached a lot of people. He's talked a lot about the way that they play being uncomfortable for teams, and when you get into March and you don't face teams that have had the familiarity of playing against them every year in the Big East, they tend to feast. And I think that's a very real narrative now. And look, his two tournament losses the last 2 years have been to the eventual champ. Obviously, Michigan in the championship game, but he gave Florida a run for its money. Certainly with an undermanned UConn team
2-point game
last year. Yeah, I mean they were right there. So he's an elite coach, an elite tournament coach, and I don't think UConn's going anywhere anytime soon.
The last 2 years, you've had two coaches be first-time national champions. Todd Golden last year, Dusty May on Monday night. Way too early prognostication. We referenced your way too early top 25 yesterday. Who could be that first-time national champion coach in 52 weeks that we're talking about?
Yeah, look, I think Arizona's not going anywhere. If they can keep Mo Krivas, that'll be critical. If he's back and Karchenkov is back, who's terrific on the wing, they're gonna reload pretty quickly. It wouldn't be surprising to me if they're there. Duke obviously could be there as well. But I think big picture, a few years ago, I think there was a lot of talk about who are going to be the faces of the sport moving forward. Coach K's gone, Jay Wright's gone, Roy's gone, and obviously some of these older guys have stuck around: Rick Pitino, Bill Self, Tom Izzo. But we have this new age group of elite coaches, and it starts with Hurley, Golden, and May, the three national champions here the last 4 years, but also Nate Oates and Tommy Lloyd and John Shire and TJ Otzelberger, and the list goes on and on. So I'm really excited about where the sport's heading in that regard, and it won't surprise me if we have a few new champions here over the coming years.
For Sampson and Few and Rick Barnes, has the ship sailed on them ever getting one?
It did feel like that a little bit with Tennessee. It felt like maybe the last go-around, but I would have said that a year ago, and here they were in the Elite Eight. So maybe not ready to cross anybody off, cross Gonzaga off. They were really good at the start of the year and got hurt, and with Braden House, maybe it's different. Houston is recruited in a very serious way, and very impressively. And so maybe that changes things, but I do think Kelvin is close to the end. He'll give it maybe 1 or 2 more years and then pass it on to Kellen.
Mm-hmm. The big news coaching-wise over the weekend, Mike Malone going to be the next head coach at North Carolina. When did you first start hearing that Mike Malone could be a possible candidate for North Carolina, and what do you make of this hire?
Yeah, I was with Tyler Hansbrough in the media room on Saturday night, and he asked me who I thought the next head coach of Carolina would be, and I was like, I feel like you might be more informed than I am. And he was like, keep an eye on Mike Malone. I said, all right. And then he said it on the show on Field 68 on Sunday, and that got a lot of attention once he got the job on Monday. So certainly a bit of a surprise, but he has been around the program quite a bit, has some connections there, and has a ring in the NBA that should certainly help his recruiting pitch to folks. He's certainly smart enough. It's just a question of can he adjust to the college game quick enough.
Mm-hmm. What has been the biggest maybe surprise or storyline for you since the portal opened?
I think still a little surprised that Flory Badunga ended up jumping in. He did last year, so maybe I shouldn't be shocked, and there was certainly buzz, but it's still jarring to me to see, one of the best players on a blue blood like Kansas not stick around. I think he'll be in the minority of guys who are truly elite players who want to hit the portal. And it's still possible, maybe Kansas could throw a bag and swing it back. But I think it's more likely than not he'll be gone. I know he's got a Louisville visit. I know Michigan has had some involvement, Duke, a couple others as well. But, it's a high-stakes, a high-priced recruitment to top the portal list right now.
Kevin, one thing for sure, we're not going 26 years in between this Big Ten championship and the next one, are we?
Doesn't feel like it, and I've always kind of thought that the national championship drought was a little overrated. They would get teams right to the finish line and just run into some absolute wagons. But nice to get that off their back, and I think we've got some monster programs in the league, well situated for the next era of college hoops.
Indiana, one of them.
It's a big off season for Darren DeVries. I think financially they're certainly committed, and this year maybe not the easiest to judge him on because they were scrambling to rebuild the roster on a whim, and I think we've seen over time that years 2 and year 3 are probably a lot more of a predictor of success. But they're going to have all the resources they need to go get a big time roster. Now it's a question of what it will take to actually turn the corner and win at a high level.
Talking about the Big Ten and kind of that drought that we just saw, and talk about this Michigan team. We mentioned your way too early top 25. You had Michigan at the top, and they've got a handful of guys that could return next year. Trey McKinney, Elliott Cadeau with eligibility remaining, and then two guys that you're seeing their names on a lot of draft boards, but we've talked a lot about some of these guys later in the first round maybe could return to school with Ade Mara and Merez Johnson. Out of those four, how many do you think are back, especially with those two guys that are on draft boards, and what do you think we see from Michigan this offseason?
Yeah, I expect Cadeau to be there. I expect McKinney to be there. I think he could really explode. And then I would say that I think Merez has a much greater chance of being there than Ade Mara. Merez, I'm not going to say for sure that Merez comes back, but I think that has real legs. I think Mara's stock is too high. He's going to have to go. Merez could try to beef up his numbers and feast on a bad draft class next year, maybe climb into the more solidified first-round range.
As well as you know the industry, how much will next year's Penny Hardaway Memphis team cost him? What will it take for NIL and fundraising to get to what number to field a sufficient, legitimate team?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what I would tell you is I've told pretty much anyone that doesn't have $8 million that they're in deep trouble if they want to at all compete for an NCAA tournament bid. And if you want to compete to be a top 20 to 25 team, you probably need to be closer to $12 million. So that's the numbers I hear in the market. Obviously, these things change rapidly, and my answer to that question could be a little different next week. But that's the bar from what I've been told.
And that makes me ask you, if they couldn't come up with $6 million to pay him off, how are they going to come up to $8 to $10 to $12 million to field a team?
It's a great question, and look, it's a massive challenge. The one thing I'll say is, there are different ways you can get creative. I know obviously they've been invested pretty heavily in trying to do the straight revenue sharing, and then I know you can also reroute some sponsorship dollars from direct, and I'm sure Memphis does relatively well with that, given the arena and whatnot. They can reroute some sponsorship dollars directly to the roster. And try to pass that through NIL Go. So that's an opportunity to get over. But yeah, the direct fundraising and booster support and the like, I mean, it's very challenging. And I think the thing that's really interesting, and it's not specific to Memphis, is every year now there are schools that are spending more money than they've ever spent, and boosters expecting that to lead to results. And if everybody's spending more money than they've ever spent, not everybody can walk out of there feeling good about their team, right? What happens when Rutgers doubles its budget and Rutgers is in the same spot next year? It's probably not very good for them. What happens when Memphis doubles their budget and still is in the same spot next year? It's probably not very good for them.
Yeah. Another name in the portal, James Nagy. Obviously, he was a very popular name middle of the season with coming back to college basketball. And I saw either last night or the night before some Italian guard that is trying to play college basketball that was drafted in the second round. We saw a lot of this, of at least guys trying to go out there and seeing what they could do for it. How much of that do you think we see this offseason and going into next year?
Yeah, I think it will continue. There's still a very limited pool of guys that have been drafted that could come over, and obviously the circumstances are a little different, guy to guy, so it's hard to totally speculate. But yeah, I think especially with the additional time that you have now, once the portal closes in a couple weeks, there's not a huge rush for a lot of these deals to get done, and you can spend a little bit more time working through eligibility, working through if there's a lawsuit that has to happen, working through the money, working through the buyout to get them out of their pro contract. These things that can take time that were hard to pull off mid-season when the Najee thing happened. And so, look, I think we'll see more and more sort of quote-unquote creative recruiting, more and more quote-unquote pros in college basketball. That is not going away unless the NCAA kind of drastically changes its model at the moment.
We know we want to catch up with you at some point during the summer. There'll be news that breaks that we'll have to check in with you. But if we don't, I want to get this in. One game you want to see next year. It may not even be scheduled yet, but one game you want to see for the 26-27 season.
Man, I mean, I would say Michigan State, because, I know we'll see it obviously in conference play. It'd be amazing if we saw it in Detroit in the Final Four. That would be an incredible atmosphere and an incredible story. But you could tell there's a little bit of animosity there between Izzo and May, and now obviously on a level playing field after Dusty wins the championship. I could see some sparks flying in that one for sure.
We want you to come to Memphis for Memphis hosting Louisville next season.
That would be
Sounds great. Yeah, I'll see if we can make it happen.
Kevin, since we're talking about scheduling and different things like that, I saw this and then I heard nobody talk about it after it was announced. And so I'm curious because you mentioned Field of 68 earlier. So you would be the person to know. High Point and Liberty, a midnight game to start the season this year. Is that real? That actually happening?
I believe that's real. This is not an official Field of 68 statement, so don't hold me to it.
Right.
But my understanding is they have been working on bringing back the marathon or something close to a marathon, and they've continued to expand that. So yeah, I think we'll see some funky timed games leading into the season next year.
So you're talking midnight, November 1st into Monday, November 2nd.
I believe that's the case, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I just pulled it up on the High Point website. They have a statement about it. So I'm assuming if they have a statement about it on the High Point website, that means it's happening Monday, November 2nd at 12 a.m. Eastern time. So that would be 11 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
So sign me up for that. I love one.
So that game over about 2:30 or so, Landon. That's when we got
Hawaii. Yeah, we get them out there.
Well, that's too early for Hawaii. We want them later, don't we?
I guess that's right. Yeah.
Who do we want up next?
I don't know.
We got to get a 2:30 game. That's the tough times of the 24-hour countdown.
Well, that would be a lot of fun if we expand that. Obviously, it was a lot of fun last year.
We could end it with Hawaii.
Yeah, we could. We could end it with Hawaii. But it's going to be a very busy off-season. I know there's really no rest time nowadays for you, Kevin, but we appreciate you joining us all throughout the season. Like Brett said, we'll definitely be catching up with you throughout the off-season a couple times before we get back going with you next year.
Always fun to do it, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Get some sleep, Kevin Sweeney, for sure. We really appreciate him. And book us for Wednesday at 5, Wednesday, October 28th.
Man, it cannot come soon enough. But, yeah, how about that? Getting the
I love it.
Midnight. I saw it. So High Point posted about it. I guess this statement says it was on the 4th, so I'm assuming it was the 4th when they posted about it on social media when I saw it. And then I thought it was going to be when I saw that High Point posted it, I thought it was going to be like the big story of the day around college basketball. Hey, we're getting midnight basketball back to start the year, but also Final Four, different things were going on. I didn't see another person say one word about it, so I was like, well, maybe that was just like a late April Fool's or something like that. But I knew Kevin would be the one to know, so. I'm glad we got some information about that High Point.
The Tigers participated in that one year. I want to say they tipped like at 11. Yeah. I didn't make it.
Yeah, they not many times do I remember them participating in it as one of the overnight games or one of the late night games. But I remember a couple of afternoons where they would be involved in that, and I would be at school watching it.
That'd be prime for the game in South Dakota.
It will be. Yeah, that will be right there in the mix with that.
And that could be the 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning game.
Sure, yeah, no, it absolutely could be. So, yeah, I mean, the Field of 68, we know they did it this past year. First game, I think, started at like 7 a.m. our time and then went throughout the day. I think it was about 5 or 6 games throughout the day that they had going. So that was a lot of fun, and hopefully it looks like expanding it and yeah, this is. I'm now reading more fully into the statement. Jeff Goodman, the co-founder of Field of 68 Media Network, quote, "We are so excited to get a game of the magnitude to start the 24-hour marathon at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. High Point was the lone true underdog." Yada yada yada. Talking more about High Point and their season. So yeah, it looks like they are going to try to have some sort of semblance of a 24-hour college basketball marathon to start the season.
And they've done a great service for college basketball and college basketball fans. You see the response to it, but they've got a real issue. It's soon to be Field of 76.
Well, that's true. We're gonna have to change the name of it, I guess, and it doesn't have the same ring as Field of 68. So they'll have to work on that and try
would
to
you stay?
Part of it.
Would you stay with it like Big Ten has stayed with the Big Ten, even though it's a lot more than 10?
I would. Personally, not everybody, but like Field of 68, they have a big following. They're doing their thing. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't change it at this point. I would just be Field of 68, and sorry that the tournament has expanded since we opened. But that's what I would do if I was in charge. Who knows what they will do if they're rocking and rolling.
And we'll have one for sure somewhere out there. Summertime retirement. I hope no issue with anyone. Sure. But we've seen the last couple of years with Tony Bennett and with Bruce Pearl, they know how to make sure who they want's hired.
Yeah, they know how the game's played now, and you can at least know that person's going to get at least 1 year. At Virginia it didn't work out; they made the change the next year. At Auburn, that's a very different situation. So he's going to get a little. Stephen Pearl's going to get a little more.
That's NIT champions, Auburn.
That's right. How about that? See, I don't know. We talked about the Crown and the winner of the Crown and what Nebraska did after winning the Crown. I don't know. I don't think there's a similar correlation with NIT. I don't think you have a great start.
Who won the Crown?
The Crown winner was Oklahoma lost, and now I can't remember who
West
they lost
Virginia.
to. The West Virginia, that's exactly who won. So West Virginia, so look out next year for West Virginia, because if Nebraska showed us anything, it's that you're going to go out there and start the season undefeated and go 16-0 or whatever it was, and then get into the NCAA tournament. So congratulations, West Virginia. But we're about to get to a break. Before we do that, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team, they're ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out those brand new models like the Range Rover Sport, the Range Rover Velar, and the Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to JaguarBluffCity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Did you miss your favorite Sports 56 show? No! Check out the podcast, broken down hourly at sports56whbq.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss any Sports 56 show again with our podcasts available daily from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
A long life is wonderful, but it comes with changes as you age. So when you're ready to change your home, Town Village Audubon Park is the perfect choice. Incredible location, amazing amenities, including a pool, all-inclusive dining, and on-site medical care so you can age in place. Monthly rental with no buy-in lets you make current choices. Apartments include full kitchen, washer and dryer, bi-weekly housekeeping, and all basic utilities. Landscape courtyards make it easy to get sunshine and fresh air. Gated parking keeps you ready to go. And the Town Village Dog Park keeps your fur baby close by your side. Hi, I'm Max. My wife Jean and I moved into Town Village Audubon Park 18 months ago. It's the best decision we ever made. We have made friends here and take part in lots of social activities. It's a comfortable life. So if you're thinking of making a change, come see me and Town Village Audubon Park. I think you'll like it as much as we do. And look, new friends.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20 plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Memphians have trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years because we make it easy for you and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or a crowd of thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next party.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say happy holidays on someone's birthday? When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you? We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Sports 56 traffic.
Well, good afternoon. Trying to clear up this wreck with a little bit of rubbernecking still going on over here, 40 westbound near Covington Pike. Again, EMS and everybody just showed up, and it's going to make things even slower. That's 40 westbound at Covington Pike. Trying to build even more down, 240 through Midtown here at Norris. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car and truck. If you're having transmission problems, bring it to Amco Transmissions right now with 2 locations here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we've got a little bit less than 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending and a handful of things trending, including some interesting news out of Chicago. We mentioned it earlier, the news with the NBA that the Bulls made a change at the general manager position. Now looking for a new GM, but now reporting being done that the Bulls are hoping to retain Billy Donovan this offseason, bring him back as the head coach, and allowing him with whoever they bring in ultimately as their general manager to give Billy Donovan more of a role in kind of decisions and what type of moves are made in terms of a roster kind of role. So it looks like, that was something Billy Donovan really wanted and something that he didn't like with the Bulls and their general manager. And so maybe a change here. Maybe Billy Donovan is back next season with the Bulls.
If he wanted that much authority, he should have taken the North Carolina job.
Well, and that's what
they could have waited on him.
Sure, and that's what I'm wondering, if maybe, you saw the move for the general manager position at Chicago happened. It was announced a couple hours before Mike Malone was announced as the head coach of North Carolina. I'm wondering if some things were going on behind the scenes those last couple of days where, they went to Billy Donovan and said, look, we're making this move. General manager's out of here. We're going to give you a lot more say in what the roster looks like moving forward with whoever we bring in. And then maybe he said, look, I like being in the NBA. I like, coaching the Bulls. And, if I have more say-so in what the roster looks like, I would rather be here in Chicago than go back to college. And so maybe there is a correlation there of the decision to move from what everyone thought would be Billy Donovan to now what it is with Mike Malone.
He's been good in the NBA, but that's it. Nothing like his college run.
He's been good. It's been really tough with Chicago. You look at the roster, and again, going back to the general manager, some of the moves that have been made to send guys elsewhere, to bring some guys in that just hasn't worked. And you look at that roster; it's a lot of young guys that they've been trying to rely on. I think they've got some pieces that they can build on. Matas Buzelis looks like a really fun young player, and so maybe they've got some pieces that they can build around, maybe guys that they decide to move on from and make some changes there, that maybe he looks around and says, look, we can be really competitive in a couple of years, see what we get out of this draft, and in a year or two, we're a very competitive NBA team. So very interesting stuff up in Chicago, and will be something to keep an eye on throughout the offseason.
That's another common denominator of all the tanking teams in a year or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
who's in tank mode now that can be in the playoffs this time next year? Never mind the two.
I mean, it's obviously Indiana because of the reason they're in this position is because they're superstars. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's expecting them to be back in that kind of top 4 or 5 next year. But a lot of these teams that are tanking, you start tanking because you're bad, and you started the tank, and it's hard to see a big jump. I would assume it would be an Eastern Conference team just with how solid the West has been. But I could see in terms of just teams making that big jump, I would say Utah could be right there with some of those moves they made at the trade deadline. Obviously, with Jaren Jackson, the commitment they have in their stars. If you can add another big-time piece to that, they could make a series jump next season. Dallas is definitely there too. And they're a team that could certainly be in the mix. But again, Jazz, Dallas, any of these teams you want to talk about, it's going to be hard when you look up in the West and see those teams in front of you because a lot of those teams aren't going anywhere.
You're not going to try Washington again next year, are you?
I think Washington will improve. Obviously what they did at the trade deadline to kind of
look
into
the
future. It wasn't far off of what they're at. I think it was like 20 and a half or
something
like that, or 21 and a half.
You were close.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't factor in a lot of the injuries and things that happened, but they went out and got Anthony Davis. They went out and got Trae Young. If those guys can be healthy going into next year with a lot of the pieces they have right now, I think they can be a better team. I'm not going to say they're going to go out there and I won't predict them to be in the playoffs again like I did this year, but I think they can be a lot better next season because I do think they've got some nice pieces. It's just the problem with Washington, and you can go through here and look at a lot of other these teams. They have nice players. It's just the fact that they haven't been able to hit on the lottery. They have kind of landed in that 4, 5, 6, 7 for a lot of drafts, and it's hard when you are drafting there year over year over year to really put together a team that can go and be a playoff type of team.
On Tuesday, we'll have 2 play-in games to pick.
Yeah, that's going to be a
lot of play-in games next week.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're already talking play-in and playoffs, and it's going to be here before we know it. And I think going to be some very competitive games. You saw obviously Boston ended up winning that game last night, but for a lot of that game, Charlotte really fought, had the lead, looked like they could pull the upset on the road, and then it was just Boston was really strong late. Yeah, they were, and so that's a team that right now 9th in the standings. So we'll see them next week, and they could be a really fun team to watch. It's going to be interesting. We talk so much about, up at the top, but how these standings play out for the play-in, very important too, of how many games you need to win, how you need to play. Charlotte, when we were talking about them yesterday, they were, I think, in the 7th spot, now in the 9th spot, because they're all separated by half a game. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out between the 76ers, the Magic, and the Hornets. And then on the other side with the West, you're looking at some really interesting teams down there in the playoff with the Suns, the Clippers, the Blazers, and the Warriors. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Games tonight, games tomorrow night, games Friday, none Saturday, and then all 30 teams, 15 games on Sunday with the first start time at 5, the last start time, and a bunch of start times at 7:30, almost kind of how baseball tries to do it on the last day of the year. It's going to be some different lineups out there on Sunday for good teams and bad.
Yeah, and we talked about that earlier with kind of that group that the Grizzlies are in terms of tanking. Of I would assume if the game was being played tonight between the Grizzlies and the Rockets, I would say by all means Rockets are gonna blow them out. On Sunday, who knows who's playing, and that's the matchup you get on Sunday. So I kind of like it, thrown out there. I'm curious to see if the NBA does anything on kind of their website or something like that, where you can kind of have like the red zone style whip around coverage where you're kind of peeking at all these games and keeping a close eye of, hey, this team is a half game back of this team and they're up by 15 right now, this other team's losing, and kind of where you can keep up with all of them, because that's a lot of games to try to keep up with. So I hope they do something like that, whether it is online or maybe on NBA TV somewhere, because I think that would be a lot of fun. But
it doesn't look like many will impact seeding, and everybody's in or out. No, not in play.
Yeah, so I think it'd be fun to have that sort of whip around where you can keep up with all of them.
Yeah.
At the very least, even if we don't have a lot of different things, because if you're I personally would love to see kind of an all day thing where you've got 2 or 3 games that start at noon, 2 or 3 games that start at 2, 2 or 3 games that start at 4, so on and so forth, to where you can kind of spread them out a little bit. I do kind of hate all of them bunched in together over a couple hours, but maybe they can find a fun way to keep people engaged and try to keep eyes on all these, because you're right. I mean, a lot of these games, it's just going to be playing out the string. A lot of these teams are going to know exactly where they're at, and they're going to be kind of meaningless games.
Baseball's the sport of playing out the string. Well, that's usually about Labor Day on for a handful of teams, but not this number, this prolonged. This has been since the new calendar year for 8 or 9 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's been all out tank, and obviously we've talked about it a lot. The commissioner is not happy about it. Adam Silver is not a fan of everything that's going on this year. Now, I think we've talked about it with Keith Smith. I think it's highlighted this year and last year because of some of those players that are in the draft. I don't think that I know we're going to see changes, and it sounds like a vote is coming up at some point next month for those changes. I don't expect the tanking to kind of be all out like it is this year, next year, because it sounds like that draft class isn't going to be very strong. But, it does look like we're going to see some changes, and I'll be really curious to see what those changes are, because it has been a different level, and you're seeing a lot of stats coming out in different numbers about players missing games in national television games. And then on the flip side of that, Brett, and I've been really surprised about this, if I'm being honest, you're starting to see some players come out and say, hey, I'm good to go. I want to play, but my team is not playing me. Obviously, Giannis is the biggest one right now, but Joel Embiid also going out there saying, I could play if they would let me, but they're not letting me. So it's been a very...
Because they're scared he'll get hurt.
Well, yes. That is the truth about Joel Embiid. That's kind of a different thing of they need him available and don't want him to go out there and get hurt.
Made of glass.
No, he really is. But we've just never seen this where players get shut down and then they're saying, no, I want to play. I could be out there if I want to.
That's what Giannis is saying.
And it's weird to see. It's different. So obviously the commissioner gonna try to make some changes. I don't know how effective they're going to be, how great they're going to be. I don't like a lot of the ones that have been thrown out there, but we'll see, because it feels like it's going to be different next year.
Brian, in the sport that we cover better than any show in town, without any doubt, that's the hockey.
Yeah,
last night the Flyers and my Predators and my Flyers both got there last night.
Yeah, big win for the Predators last night. They're right there, kind of on the teetering on the edge of making
two-team money line parlay would have paid.
That's a great question. I cannot say. I'd say both on the road.
Never wagered on the hockey.
Really? Wow. I would say it would pay pretty well, both teams on the road. But yeah, they both get the win. And just like basketball, we are coming down the final stretch, coming out to the end on the hockey season.
How many games do they play?
They play 82, just like basketball. So yeah,
just like it.
I say it all the time.
I knew that.
Well, there you go. Their season, I'm pulling it up. Their season ends next Thursday. So, they are pretty much on the same schedule as the NBA. It's usually off about a week or so. This year, obviously a little different because of all the missed time with the Olympics. But, they're pretty close in terms of scheduling and when things happen. So we're getting close to the end on hockey, and we can't forget, because I think last year, Brett, I think we almost forgot to make some of those hockey picks when we got to playoff.
Well, it was just a planning error.
We can't forget about it this year.
We don't forget about it. No, in the hockey, real intrigue on in or out, not just seeding. There's a lot of in or out intrigue.
Yeah, there definitely is, and so it'll be fun to watch. And this really is the time, if you don't watch a lot of hockey,
to your Boston Bruins sweater on yesterday.
Yeah, had that rocking yesterday.
It looks hot.
It is, but yesterday was the day. Yesterday was kind of cool outside, so I felt like yesterday was the day. It's cold in here in the studio, so I was like, maybe wear the Bruins.
How about the weather today?
Oh, it's really nice.
This knocks Beverly Hills out.
No, it's beautiful. It is. It's picture perfect outside, and so I hope a lot of people able to enjoy it out there. But
Brian, I want to mention our guest at 3:30, Kaylee Mansell. It's so fun to have her on, and I commented, and she was not one of them. I didn't want to inference her. Then, not only was she not one of them, this is the kind of person she is. I told you some of my Georgia media buddies, all week in New Orleans. Oh, great to see you. Just no. Ole Miss had no chance in their mind. Headed to Phoenix next week, and then to the night. It was just no game. And then when it was over, it was like, how dare you? Here's the difference in Kaylee and the rest of them. I've told you, and you were one of them, and I appreciated it. I woke up the next morning to 71 text messages. and from you and from her. Really happy for you.
Yeah, no,
and
absolutely.
that is kind.
No, that is kind, and I know you've said it a lot about some of those Bulldogs that are covering Georgia down there.
Catch the elevator to go back up. Post game, I see one. I said, man, what a game. He was mad as he could be over it.
It's crazy. That's insane. But
I didn't play.
No, but I'm not surprised that Kaylee was one of those that sent you a text and congratulated you. That is not surprising, but definitely great to hear. But we need to get to our final break of the day, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do. Moe's Crunch Time. It comes your way next.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With over 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? And if you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at LawnSolutionsInc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Fiveash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Let me share the story about a man named Phineas who, as a child, survived the Holocaust. Phineas survived because Christians hid him from the Nazis, risking everything to save his life. Today, he is in his 80s. He can no longer stand on his own or leave his home in Israel to receive medical care, and when sirens sound and missiles fall, he cannot get to a bomb shelter for protection. But once again, Christians are helping to save his life.
Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, a mobile clinic brings doctors and medicine right to his home, providing care he wouldn't receive, especially in wartime. Christians saved my life during the Holocaust, Phineas says, and now again they're helping me. As Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day approaches, we honor survivors like Phineas, not just with words, but with action.
Give $45 right now to rush life-saving essentials to the vulnerable under fire. Call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ, or go online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This game has always been called the world's greatest cocktail party. Do you know what is going to happen here tonight?
This is for all the biggest Crunch Time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Crunch Time between the hedges.
The ball game is over, and Memphis has its first win in 16 tries, its first win ever against its fierce in-state rival Tennessee.
Goodbye!
It's obviously Crunch Time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com. It's your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, Brett, what I learned today is Cade Cunningham is set to return for the Detroit Pistons. He was listed earlier today as questionable for tonight's game against the Milwaukee Bucks. But according to ESPN's Vince Goodwill, he's going to play. So it sounds like he will be back tonight. He'll play, I don't know how many of these last couple of games he'll play in the regular season, but it is clear that Cade Cunningham will be back when it matters the most in the playoffs. And when you see the Boston Celtics quickly approaching Detroit, and really, I don't know of many people that are looking at the Eastern Conference and looking at the number one seed and saying they could go out there and represent the East in the NBA Finals. It feels like everybody is on the Celtics for Detroit to be in competition and be in conversation to go to the NBA Finals. They have to have Cade Cunningham out there, and it has to be a healthy Cade Cunningham. So we'll get a look tonight and to see how many of these regular season games he plays, because he will be very important for Detroit.
That's a winner for the Cardinals, 6-1. The Cardinals red hot. Two birds, one bat, just like I said they would do this year.
I mean, you're on it.
What I learned today, SEC Media Days lineup announced. And I'm not saying it was because of me, but at the Fiesta Bowl, I suggested to an SEC upper honcho, it was not Greg Sankey, but it was somebody in the office, you better put LSU on the last day in Tampa, or you're going to have everybody trying to get out of there early. You got to have Lane and LSU there to hold the crowd. What day is LSU and Lane going to speak? On Thursday.
How about that? Brett, you're on top of everything today. Good Lord.
Doing the best I can.
You are doing the best you can. You are doing it for the people and for the SEC. I think you should get something in return for that. I don't know. I'm not saying
I'll get a pat on the back.
That's right. Yeah, hopefully. What I could have done without some really sad news that was released earlier today with Dick Vitale and his health. This is from a USA Today story. It said, through a statement from ESPN PR, Vitale announced that he received bad news after going through a series of routine tests last week. The iconic college basketball personality revealed that there were some abnormalities found. In a quote, while I feel great physically and sharp mentally, I heard from my doctors that the latest test showed some abnormalities. Vitale said in a statement shared by ESPN, they have recommended some additional testing and determine next steps. I'm hoping for the best, and we will see what the roadmap looks like after an upcoming biopsy. As always, I plan to remain as active as ever and fight as hard as can be. So I hate that some bad news and maybe some scary things going on with Dick Vitale and his battle that he's been going through with cancer.
Has anybody ever handled it with more bravery and bring it on, I'll whip it again?
I mean, he is, it's incredible. And to see him, in these, the couple of games he did this year and, what you can see the emotion on him of what it means to him, having all the people around him and seeing that fight in him. It's really cool to see.
I could have done without the slouchiest, sorriest on the court and off in 25 years of the Grizzlies that we've all had to go through. It's alienated a lot of fans, and now we're supposed to trust Wexler and Kleiman with the rebuild. Yeah.
Well,
sign the lease.
Yeah, it's got to be done. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Washington Road, Augusta National Golf Club. Be on the first tee tomorrow morning for maybe the last time at 86 years young for Jack Nicklaus. He'll tee it up and get things started.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. Beam me, though, to this game starting here in just a couple minutes. Hawks and Cavs on ESPN should be a fun one in the NBA.
Big night on live from the Masters. Cubs at Rays, A's at Yankees, and must win for Denver and must lose for the Grizzlies. That's a simple deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night with a couple of baseball games. We've got basketball, too, on ESPN. I mentioned Hawks and Cavs. Blazers, Spurs later tonight. Also Grizzlies in action on the road against Denver, and then Masters all day tomorrow. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats.